starting by showing Tobirama Senju a summary of Naruto. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyright or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 76 Minato's inventory completed. There is still a little time left. I will try to round out this plot. First of all, Minato didn't know that putting the Nine Tails back into Kushina's body would save Kushina. Secondly, Kushina herself said that she wanted to drag the Nine Tails back and die together. In addition, the Nine Tails was tied to the ground by the girl just after it was freed, and the resentment was indeed deep. Kushina's condition was extremely poor, and resealing it would not help, and it might even accelerate her sudden death. Minato was also worried that after the Nine Tails was killed by Kushina, it would break the balance of the tailed beasts in the ninja world. Originally, the Jinchuriki wife was about to die, and Konoha would lose another tailed beast, which would undoubtedly be a blood loss. So, in just a few minutes, there was a scene where an old father accompanied his wife to die for love, and entrusted his son to this world and placed high hopes on him. In general, Kushina would die in 9 out of 10 cases, and the Nine Tails would die depending on the situation. But Minato, who was in good condition, really didn't have to die. As a result, this father put all the responsibility on Naruto and committed suicide with his wife. If Obito knew that Minato was dead, he would probably be confused for a long time. I was still thinking about how to beat Minato next time, but Minato was killed by the plot just like the second generation Hokage. So I will just stop here for this plot. It can be said that Minato, who has Flying Thunder God, is too difficult to deal with. The author's operation is clearly for the future strength of the protagonist and the smoothness of the plot. He directly sacrificed Minato and his wife. So let's talk about Minato's story before his death. We will talk about the Fourth War period after the Impure World reincarnation later. I am Tian, see you next time. What? It turns out that the fourth generation is a love-brained person. After watching the inventory video of Minato Nameki's, Tsunade curled her lips in disdain. Tsunade, don't you think the love between Minato and his wife is beautiful, and his final choice is very touching? Seeing that little Tsunade looked down on his future disciple, little Jiraiya couldn't help but speak up to defend him. Unexpectedly, after hearing what little Jiraiya said, little Tsunade became even more disdainful. What kind of master you have, what kind of disciple you have? Since he values his wife more than the village, why does he want to be the Hokage? What does this have to do with whether he will be the Hokage or not? Didn't Minato's love sacrifice move you at all? At this point, little Jiraiya was a little angry. In his opinion, the love between Minato and his wife is worth praising. The husband gave up the right to live and resolutely followed his wife to die. How touching it is. I am touched that, in my opinion, Minato is a coward, abandoning the village and his son, and only has his wife in his eyes. He still wants to be the Hokage. Bah! No wonder little Tsunade was so excited. From childhood to adulthood, she has always regarded her great-grandfather and second-grandfather as idols. It can be said that they have given everything for the village. The former killed his best friend with his own hands. The latter has not married yet. In contrast to these two people, Minato's choice to die made little Tsunade feel very disgusted. Tsunade, are you still a woman? How can you say such a thing? Why am I not a woman? Do you think I don't know? You perverted nymphomaniac often peek at me taking a bath. Hearing this, little Jiraiya's face suddenly began to turn rosy. He muttered in a low voice with not enough confidence. Who would peek at you, a piece of wood? To be honest, Tsunade was indeed not good looking when she was a teenager. However, Jiraiya at this time did not care whether she had good looking or not. He still cared more about whether her face was beautiful. Just from the face, little Tsunade is undoubtedly very beautiful. In addition to little Jiraiya, there are many people in the village who like little Tsunade very much. Of course, those who like little Tsunade will not be perverted enough to peek at her taking a bath. Jiraiya, if you want to die, just say so. I'll send you to see your grandmother right away. Seeing that Tsunade was really going to attack him, Jiraiya hid behind Orochimaru. Orochimaru, get out of my way. Orochimaru was full of black lines. Didn't he want to get out of the way? It was because he was grabbed by Jiraiya behind him. Lulu, you can't hit me, hey, you can't hit me. With Orochimaru as a shield, Tsunade began to shrink in order not to harm innocent people. Seeing this, Jiraiya immediately became arrogant again. Orochimaru, if you don't get out of the way, I'll hit you too. Knowing that Tsunade was serious, Orochimaru panicked. Jiraiya, I'm sorry, I'm also afraid of Tsunade's fist. After saying that, Orochimaru immediately took off his clothes and quickly left this place. Seeing his friend take off his clothes and get away, Jiraiya was dumbfounded. So Orochimaru is such a shameless person. He stared blankly at the direction where Orochimaru left, and found that he was not shirtless, but had clothes on. Orochimaru, are you stupid? I have clothes on. What is the most important thing to do in the ninja world? Of course, it is to be cautious. If he had not been cautious and put on an extra piece of clothes today, he might have run away shirtless in the Hokage's office just now. Jiraiya, die. Me. Butterfly. Little Tsunade shot hard and hit little Jiraiya's chest, successfully breaking at least 2 ribs of little Jiraiya. Save him. Little Orochimaru came to little Jiraiya in a pretentious manner, shook his head, and sighed. It's hopeless, wait to die, goodbye. No, I think I can save him a little more. In the end, this little farce ended with the reward, the phone call and the confirmation of the time travel. Kahara, you can give Jiraiya a simple treatment first, and then put him in that Konoha hospital. Okay, teacher. With Kahara's treatment, Jiraiya's complexion looked much better. Everyone stand still, I'll put a talisman on everyone. Seeing Tobirama take out a stack of talismans from the ninja bag, everyone didn't know what he was going to do. Among them, Kagami asked, Teacher, what are you doing? This is for safety. Tobirama put talismans on them and said, this is based on the characteristics of White Zetsu. I specially researched to detect White Zetsu's possession ability. In other words, after putting this talisman on, you can know whether you are possessed by White Zetsu. As soon as the voice fell, a pale body emerged from Mitokado Wong and Shiguro Danzo. There are actually 2 this time. Seeing the appearance of White Zetsu, Tobirama's eyes lit up. In today's ninja world, there is nothing better than White Zetsu as experimental material. This thing not only has a strong recovery ability, but also will not be easily killed in experiments. More importantly, White Zetsu does not need to eat. They don't have the organs that normal people should have. This avoids the excrement smearing seen after mistakes in the experiment. With the last White Zetsu, Tobirama had been using it very carefully, fearing that he might overdo it and kill the White Zetsu. Now, with the existence of 3 White Zetsu, he can let go a little. Perhaps, cloning technology can succeed ahead of time. Senju Tobirama. Thank you, my friend Uchiha Madara, for sending me 2 excellent experimental materials. Uchiha Madara. Chapter 77 Uchiha Clan Meeting. At night, the Uchiha clan was holding a clan meeting. This meeting was convened by the radical boss Uchiha Setsuna to discuss the future of the clan. As the leader of the Hawk faction in the clan, Uchiha Setsuna has always been dissatisfied with Senju Tobirama's policy towards the clan. He has always been eager to seize power from the Senju clan and become the master of Konoha. Now that the Senju clan has been disbanded, he does not bother to target a disbanded clan. However, the second generation Hokage of the village, Senju Tobirama, is still there, and he is bound to bring him down. The existence of Tobirama has seriously affected the development of the clan. It is imperative to get rid of this second generation Hokage. And Jin, a member of the clan, happens to be Tobirama's disciple. His identity can serve as a spy for the family and obtain Tobirama's actions and intelligence for the family. Unfortunately, Jin did not intend to attend the meeting, and he also broke the legs of the person he sent, which was really bold. Setsuna was very angry. Since he became the elder of the clan, he has never been so angry. He was angry that Jin actually hit his people. This was a loss of face for him and a blow to his authority. At the same time, he was even more angry that Jin ignored the family and did not even attend such a big event as the family meeting. Damn it, I will deal with you sooner or later. Setsuna suppressed his anger and began to ask people to preside over this family meeting. At the meeting, Setsuna's people first repeated the same thing several times to warm up the atmosphere. When the dogs and neutrals were a little impatient, his people officially began to discuss today's topic. There was only one topic, which was how to kill Senju Tobirama. Setsuna, are you Hawks crazy? You actually want to kill the village's Hokage? That's right, do you want us to rebel? Let's not talk about whether you can kill him or not. Have you Hawks thought about the consequences of doing so? Obviously, except for the Hawks, other members of the family were frightened by this topic and began to accuse Setsuna, the leader of the Hawks. Damn it, if you want to die, go ahead and die, but don't drag us down. Setsuna was prepared for these people's accusations. He walked forward slowly, signaling the host to leave, and he would be in charge of the next meeting. Have you said enough? Setsuna crossed his arms and looked around at the clansmen who were dissatisfied with him with a very majestic look. Seeing that these people gradually stopped talking, he nodded with satisfaction and continued. I didn't call you here to ask for your opinions. I will kill Senju Tobirama. Even if Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara are resurrected, they can't stop me. I say it. Setsuna's words were very domineering, but the clansmen who were about the same age as him did not accept him, and secretly curled their lips to express disdain. He also knew that many people did not accept him, otherwise the family would not be divided into 3 factions, and he was only the leader of the Hawk faction, and he could not control the other 2 factions. But in order for the family to continue to develop and even become the master of Konoha, he had to stand up and unify the 3 factions. In his opinion, the Hawk faction was the most powerful of the 3 factions, even the other 2 factions combined were not as powerful as his own. And he is the leader of the Hawk faction, so who else can lead the family? Please listen to me, everyone. Since the establishment of Konoha, haven't we Uchiha suffered enough? First, Lord Madara was expelled from the village, and then Senju Tobirama discriminated against us. How long will we have to live like this? Obviously, our Uchiha is a family as famous as the Senju family, and we are also the elders who founded Konoha village together. Why are the first and second generation Hokage from the Senju family? As far as I know, the candidate for the 3rd generation Hokage is not a member of our Uchiha clan. Can you really tolerate such a thing? In the crowd, there were several older members who wanted to speak but stopped after hearing what Setsuna said. They wanted to say that the Uchiha clan should also bear a large part of the responsibility for Uchiha Madara's departure. But thinking about Setsuna's current power in the clan, adhering to the principle of less trouble is worse than more trouble, they finally did not refute. Setsuna, where did you get the news about the 3rd Hokage candidate? Below, Uchiha Fuyao, the clan leader and leader of the Duck faction, couldn't help but speak. Don't worry about where I got it from, I just know it. Hearing this, Fuyao frowned and replied. But as far as I know, the Hokage-sama thinks very much of Jin. I think Jin is not without a chance to be the 3rd Hokage. Yes, Jin is at least one of the 6 disciples of the Hokage-sama, and he has the support of our Uchiha clan. I think no one will be dissatisfied with him becoming the 3rd Hokage of the village. I also think that Jin is a candidate for the 3rd Hokage. It's reliable. Yes, yes. Seeing that the situation that he had finally controlled was broken by this guy Fuyao, Setsuna wanted to bite him to death immediately. Come on. Still the Hokage? Don't be ridiculous. Look at what Tobirama Senju has done to our Uchiha clan since he came to power. Setsuna gnashed his teeth at the rich man, but he did not choose to take action. Instead, he began to criticize Tobirama Senju's policies. There are so many departments in the village. Except for the security department, we have no control over the other departments. And, one thing after another, from Setsuna's mouth, many people from the Duds and Neutrals changed their faces. Uchiha Rich Man knew that if Setsuna continued to talk, someone might defect to the Hawks on the spot. For this reason, he quickly interrupted and said, wait, if it is true as you said, that Hokage discriminates against a Uchiha, then why did he accept Konoha as his disciple? Setsuna sneered and replied, of course, he was pretending to be in front of you and other families in the village. If he can't be fair on the surface, then he, Tobirama Senju, is not worthy of being Hokage. The rich man was speechless. Setsuna's words did make sense. However, as the head of the family, no matter how nice and encouraging Setsuna's words were, he would never let his clan members participate in the assassination of the Hokage. Fuyao, you are too weak. You are no longer suitable to be the head of the family. Setsuna, I think you are too radical. If you want to change the situation of the family, you don't have to take action. How can you have a chance if you don't take action? Anyway, I just don't agree. Setsuna, I'm the head of the family. Fuyao, you will regret it. Just when Fuyao and Setsuna were arguing fiercely, someone reported that Jin was back and was walking towards this side. The noisy meeting place suddenly became quiet. Fuyao and Setsuna did not continue to argue, and just quietly waited for Jin's arrival. After a while, Jin calmly came to the meeting place, looked at Setsuna and asked, I just heard from the tribe that you want to kill the 2nd generation Hokage, who is also my teacher. Setsuna smiled evilly and stared at Jin, saying, yes, I'm putting my words here, I want to kill Senju Tobirama. What about you? Who agrees and who opposes? At this moment, even some people in the Hawk faction thought that Setsuna was crazy. In front of other people's disciples, anyone who wants to kill the other party's teacher would not do this, okay? Haha, if that's the case, then you can die. After saying that, Jin directly opened the Mangekyou Sharingan in the surprised eyes of everyone. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 78 Kill Kamai, Your Eyes? Fuyao looked at Kamai's Mangekyou Sharingan with disbelief on his face. This is a Mangekyou. After all these years since Uchiha Madara left Konoha, the Uchiha clan finally has another member who has awakened the Mangekyou Sharingan. God bless me, Uchiha. Fuyao looked very happy, for the family and for Kamai. Clan leader, we'll talk about the eyes later. Now I'm going to eliminate the scum in the clan. Kamai, wait. Unlike Fuyao's happiness, Setsuna's reaction here was horrified. He didn't expect Kamai to awaken the Mangekyou and even threatened to kill him. How could Setsuna not panic when he knew the power of the Mangekyou? How dare he not panic? He quickly opened his mouth and wanted to stop Kamai's actions. But how could Kamai listen to him? Don't worry, it will be over soon, and you won't feel any pain. After saying that, Kamai used an illusion on Setsuna. After the amplification of the Mangekyou Sharingan, even Setsuna, an Illusionin, was a little dazed. It was just this delay that Jin came to Setsuna's side and gently scratched his throat with a kunai. Suddenly, a lot of blood spurted out of Setsuna's neck. Setsuna stared at Jin, wanting to say something, but couldn't. Go with peace of mind. Without you, the Uchiha clan will become better. Setsuna fell to the ground unwillingly, until his consciousness gradually blurred, and soon he died. After confirming that Setsuna was dead, Jin looked at the Hawk faction with the blood-red Mangekyou and said seriously, "From now on, there will be no Hawk faction in Uchiha. Does anyone have any objection?" The Hawk faction was intimidated by Jin's momentum, and no one spoke for a while. If you don't say anything, I will assume that you have no objection. After a few seconds, Jin still didn't say anything, so don't blame him for making a choice for them. Okay, clan leader, let's find a place to talk. Okay, let's go to my house. The rich man laughed, not caring about the blood on Jin's hand, and pulled him to his home. Fire style. Great dragon fire technique. Before the two of them walked away, a Hawk tribe member behind them immediately sprayed a fire dragon at Jin. Jin, be careful. Get out of the way. The tribe members on the side saw this scene and asked Jin to get out of the way. When Jin walked with the clan leader, he did not relax his vigilance. You can see that he has not closed the Mangekyou Sharingan. Therefore, this sudden fire dragon did not cause any harm to him. Everyone, Elder Setsuna is dead, and Uchiha Jin, the running dog of Senju Tobirama, will definitely not let us go. Why don't we just do it together? Only if he dies can we live. Seeing that his fire dragon did not hit the other party, this man quickly started to persuade his companions beside him. Don't say it, his words really persuaded some people. Looking at these guys who didn't know how to live or die, Fuyao wanted to speak immediately. Unexpectedly, Jin waved his hand at him and stopped him from speaking. Clan leader, these people are hopeless. Instead of letting them go, it's better to kill them directly and eliminate the unstable factors in the clan. Fuyao opened his mouth to say something, but in the end he didn't say anything. He could only pat Jin's shoulder and said, "Be careful. Don't worry, they can't hurt me." After that, Jin took the lead in launching the attack. He didn't use ninjutsu. After all, the crowd here is dense, and it would be bad if he accidentally hurt other clan members. Anyway, with the amplification of the Mangekyou Sharingan, physical skills will definitely be able to deal with the opponent. The fact is just as he thought. He can see every move of the opponent clearly, and soon two members died in his hands. Just like Setsuna's death, cut throat and bleeding to death. There is no need to talk about family friendship against Senju Tobirama's lackeys, let's all go together. Okay. Maybe he was scared by Jin's ruthlessness, or maybe he was encouraging himself. When someone took the lead to call out, the rest of the people responded immediately. With a passion in their hearts, they simultaneously launched an attack on Jin. And their attack was also very tacit. Taijutsu, illusion, ninjutsu, they used all possible means. They didn't care whether they would hurt other people in the family, as long as they could kill Jin. You are so stubborn. Facing the attacks of these people, Jin moved flexibly and shook his head helplessly. Why? Why bother? Anyway, we are going to die, why not die without pain? You have to make me angry. After saying that, Jin's eyes suddenly widened. A violent and cold chakra appeared, covert, and formed from his body. It was the ultimate power of the Mangekyou Sharingan, Susanoo. Now, you can die. The Susanoo hand condensed by chakra was extremely powerful. With just a slight wave of his hand, a member of the Hawk faction had all his bones broken and lay on the ground wailing. The remaining members looked at the half-skeleton Susanoo that covered the body of Kagami, and they were so scared that they swallowed their saliva. Can Kagami surrender and lose half? That's right, they wanted to surrender. Even if they were confined at home for the rest of their lives and could not go out, it would be better than being beaten to death by Susanoo. Kagami did not answer them, but controlled Susanoo's big hand to slap these people to death without mercy. For him, in order to prevent the family from following the old path of history, all unstable factors must be eliminated. Clan leader, let's go. Okay. Soon, what happened to the Uchiha clan was known to the village's senior officials. In response, Tobirama did not say anything, but secretly lowered the level of surveillance on the Uchiha clan. After all, Kagami's actions were very much to his liking. Without some hawks who were making trouble, he could feel more at ease about this family. After knowing this, other families said that they would visit the Uchiha clan the next day. First, it was to test the attitude of the Uchiha clan and see if they would become more anxious because of Kagami's Mangekyou. Secondly, it was also to show the attitude, making the Uchiha think that they had no intention of making an enemy of them. For a while, the Uchiha, which was deserted, suddenly became lively. Jin didn't know about this. After a night of detailed discussions with the clan leader, he and Hiruzen set out on the road back to the capital of the Fire Kingdom the next day. Anyway, the family affairs can be left to the wealthy clan leader. Just when the Uchiha clan was bustling the mountain cemetery, Uchiha Madara, who was waiting for information, looked at the empty scene in front of him and couldn't help falling into deep thought. After a long time, he turned to look at Black Zetsu and asked, "Don't tell me that the two white Zetsu who entered Konoha are also missing." Black Zetsu nodded expressionlessly and said, "As expected of Lord Madara, you guessed it right." Madara. 05205. Chapter 79 Black Zetsu goes to Konoha. Silence, deathly silence. Uchiha Madara held his forehead with his right hand, he didn't know what went wrong. The white Zetsu sent to Konoha twice in a row all disappeared. Wasn't it said that the white Zetsu spore technique would never be discovered by the people of Konoha? What was the result? Just like that. Madara knew that they were said to be missing, but in fact they were most likely killed. After all, a creature like White Zetsu was obviously not a human at first glance. For this kind of monster that can lurk in the village, judging from Madara's approach, he would definitely kill it one by one. Who would have thought that White Zetsu would arouse the interest of Senju Tobirama? Instead of killing this white monster at the first time, he put it in a secret laboratory. Madara-sama, what should we do next? Continue to send White Zetsu to Konoha? Madara looked up at the Black Zetsu who said it was his own will. At this stage, Madara didn't actually trust him 100%. It was a good opportunity to test him. Black Zetsu, why don't you go to Konoha in person and see what Tobirama is doing? Black Zetsu didn't care about going to gather intelligence. With his ability, ordinary people couldn't sense him at all. To him, Konoha village was like a public toilet, and he could enter at will. But he was not as good as White Zetsu in one ability, that is, he couldn't possess quietly. If he entered a relatively open and narrow place, he would still be at risk of being exposed. I may not be as comprehensive as White Zetsu. It doesn't matter, just do your best. Okay, Madara-sama, I'll go to Konoha now. Konoha village in Konoha 61. Today was originally an ordinary day. Kakashi sat lazily on a tree, watching the latest work of the 5th generation Jiraiya with relish. Suddenly, the words of passers-by on the street came into his ears. Have you heard? That brat Uzumaki Naruto is not a demon fox, but the son of the 4th Hokage. What? That's impossible, how could he be the son of the 4th Hokage? Absolutely true, the Hokage building has issued a notice. Are you sure? Then I have to go and take a good look. Looking at the pedestrians going away, Kakashi silently put away the intimate the 20th in his hand, and disappeared from the spot in a flash. At this time, the Hokage building was really bustling. Whether it was ordinary villagers or ninjas in the village, they were all very interested in the identity of Uzumaki Naruto. They wanted to know, how could the demon fox boy who had been called for so many years become the son of the 4th Hokage? Old man, don't you come forward to take care of it. Upstairs in the Hokage building, the 5th Hokage Jiraiya and the 3rd Hokage stood in front of the French window, looking at the crowded crowd below. It's okay. There are ample ninjas to maintain order. There won't be any trouble. But Jiraiya, is it really okay to restore Naruto's identity? Last night, when the light curtain ended, the 5th generation Jiraiya talked with the 3rd generation Hokage for a long time. He wanted to restore Naruto's identity. Before, when Naruto didn't know his life experience, they could use the excuse of stabilizing Naruto's emotions and not disclose his identity. Now that Naruto already knows that he is the son of the 4th generation Hokage, it would be a bit of a cover-up to hide it. Just make it public. Anyway, the 5th generation Jiraiya doesn't want Naruto to live as a demon fox for the rest of his life. In the end, it's all Danzo's fault. If he hadn't spread rumors secretly, Naruto wouldn't have had such a miserable childhood. Hearing this, the 5th generation Jiraiya glanced at the 3rd generation Hokage, smiled and didn't reply. Whether it was Danzo's fault or the 3rd generation's fault, the 5th generation Jiraiya didn't want to pursue it. Because it's meaningless. Now, it's better to think about how to calm the anger of the villagers. That's right, it's anger. These people don't think there's anything wrong with their behavior. They are so kind and amiable. You know, Naruto is the son of the 4th Hokage, how could they say bad things to him? So, all this is the fault of the Konoha high-level officials. It was these high-level officials who provided them with wrong information, making them think that Naruto was the reincarnation of the demon fox who killed the 4th Hokage. Afterwards, the Konoha high-level officials have not come forward to explain all this, so they have been wrong all the time. All of this is the fault of the Konoha high-level officials. Yes, that's it, everything is the fault of the Konoha high-level officials, they were just blinded and deceived. They are also victims. There are many villagers who have such thoughts. If they are not handled properly, they may cause some trouble. Don't worry, I have thought of a countermeasure. What countermeasure? The 3rd Hokage took a puff of his pipe and said, just tell the truth and throw Danzo out. Okay, this is a good countermeasure. It must be said that Danzo is really suitable to take the blame. Just open up some information about what Danzo did, and it will definitely attract the attention of these people. In addition, this matter was indeed done by Danzo, which can increase credibility. Using a defector to solve this matter is perfect. It's just a little sorry for Danzo. Even if he defected, he still had to be blamed by the 3rd generation. But the 5th generation Jiraiya felt that he shouldn't mind, after all, he's used to taking the blame, right? Of course, Danzo is a treasure. He has done too many bad things. It would be a bit of a waste to throw them all out at once. It's better to find a few of these bad things. If there is an incident that needs to calm the anger of the villagers in the future, Danzo can be pulled out to continue to take the blame. It's not a disposable pot, recycling is the kingly way. Danzo. Jiraiya, are you polite? Just when the two are discussing what to expose about Danzo, the elderly version of Uchiha Madara and Mitokado Wong, regardless of the obstruction of the Yambu at the door, broke into the Hokage's office. Hiruzen, Jiraiya, you were going too far. Why didn't you discuss with us about the announcement of Uzumaki Naruto's identity? That's right. Publicly, we are Konoha's advisors and have the right to know everything about the village. Privately, we have been partners for decades. Hiruzen, you actually announced Naruto's identity without telling us. It's really too much. The attitudes of Uchiha Madara and Mitokado Wong made Jiraiya the 5th generation raise his eyebrows, and he was not going to indulge them immediately. However, these two people were old friends of the Sanmi after all, so he stopped Jiraiya the 5th generation who wanted to scold them. Jiraiya, leave it to me. Jiraiya the 5th generation looked at the serious look of the Sanmi and nodded. Okay, then I'll leave it to you, Sanmi. Jiraiya the 5th generation did not call him old man, but Sanmi, which meant that official matters should be handled impartially. The 3rd generation Hokage also heard that if the handling of this matter did not satisfy Jiraiya, this matter might not end so easily. Chapter 80 Shionen's money swindling plan. Recalling what he knew last night, Uzumaki Naruto sat on the bed blankly, looking a little overwhelmed. It was really beyond his cognition. How did he become the son of the 4th Hokage? Wasn't he the demon fox in the villagers' mouths? Wasn't he an orphan who was not loved by anyone? If he was really the son of the 4th Hokage, then what about the unfair treatment he suffered in the past? Why did the village hide his life experience? Why did he have to suffer so much injustice? Why on earth? Really, Naruto, who never liked to use his brain, began to think. But with his knowledge, he couldn't think of anything useful. Fortunately, his personality is very good. To put it nicely, he is lively and cheerful, and to put it bluntly, he is heartless. In short, Naruto, who had been sitting on the bed for a long time, was considered to be cheered up. After getting dressed and eating a bowl of instant noodles, he walked out the door. Although he is now the disciple of the 5th Jiraiya, he still has to do tasks. If he doesn't do tasks, he will have no income. What's more, the 5th generation Jiraiya was the Hokage, and every day he had a lot of documents to review and sign. As for training, he only had a few free hours. It was also because of Naruto that the 5th generation Jiraiya rarely went to the bathhouse. For the beautiful girls of Konoha, it was really a good thing. Naruto, you were going to do the mission so early, come here, these are the new fruits that arrived today, take them. I also have biscuits brought back from the land of fire, you can also take them. Here, this is a snack that Auntie specially prepared for you. You can also take my taiyaki. As soon as Naruto stepped into the commercial street, the vendors on both sides surrounded him with their own things as if they had discussed it beforehand. This kind of enthusiasm made Naruto very uncomfortable. He was like a puppet, saying thank you blandly while walking forward with the things in his arms. When he walked out of the commercial street, there were so many things in his arms that they were about to overflow. Hey, isn't this Naruto? Do you feel their enthusiasm? At the end of the street, it was unknown whether it was an accidental encounter or intentional, but all the members of Team 8 except Uchiha were here. Inuzuka Kiba even walked up to tease Naruto. Well, I don't quite understand why everyone suddenly became so enthusiastic. Does that need to be said? Inuzuka Kiba patted Naruto's shoulder and said, you are the son of the 4th Hokage, of course they will treat you well. So they all know it. Seeing that Naruto was not in a good mood, Hinata plucked up the courage and asked in a low voice, Naruto, what's wrong with you? Are you unhappy? Hearing this, Naruto tried to put on a smile to Hinata, no, I'm especially happy today. Hehe, try to adapt to your current life. Patting Naruto on the back again, Inuzuka Kiba took Hinata and Shino away. Adapt to your current life. Looking up at the clear sky, Naruto smiled foolishly and returned to his usual appearance. The land of rain, the hidden rain village. Today is the day when Kakuza comes to pay. As the treasurer of Akatsuki, in addition to the money he received from other ninja villages, most of the money in the organization was earned by him hunting various ninjas and exchanging their heads for gold underground. It can be said that without Kakuza, the organization's funds would be seriously insufficient. Kakuza, why is the amount so much less this month? After taking the briefcase of cash from Kakuza and opening it, Konan was very dissatisfied when she saw the amount of money inside. There is no way. Those guys are looking for Shinguro Danzo in groups. With so many people, we can't wipe them out if we are not careful. Didn't Pain ask us to keep a low profile? I can't take the risk of exposing the organization. It's right to be cautious. Konan put away the briefcase and started walking towards the base. In the past, Kakuza would have turned around and left. But today was different. Kakuza called Konan. Anything else? I remember Zetsu was in charge of intelligence, right? Shonen nodded and said, yes. Well, ask Zetsu to help me find out where Danzo is so I can kill him. His head is worth 100 million. I can't help you with this. Shonen was shocked by the 100 million bounty. If it was before Danzo went to the Hidden Rain village, she might have asked Zetsu to cooperate with Kakuza. But now, Danzo has been made into hell. You can't let Nagato control the hell to cheap money. It seems that it is not impossible. The more Shonen thought about it, the more feasible it seemed. Wait for me here. Kakuza, who was a little disappointed, immediately became happy after hearing this. But he didn't show it. In order to maintain his status, he urged, okay, please hurry up, my time is very valuable. Shonen carried the cash box and quickly found Nagato who was resting with his eyes closed. Konan, what's the matter? Yes, I have something to discuss with you. As he said that, Konan told him his plan to cheat money. As long as we are fast enough, we can cheat the second and third families after cheating one family, until the matter is exposed. After hearing Konan's plan, Nagato was speechless. Is the organization so poor? So poor that even Konan has to cheat money? Speaking of which, what exactly does Kakuza do for a living? Is he on a passive strike? Do you know how much Danzo's bounty is now? How much? Seeing that Nagato didn't want to do it, Konan had to tell him the amount of Danzo's bounty. A bounty of 100 million. How much? 100 million. Hearing this huge amount, Nagato immediately became interested. No one would complain about too much money, and Nagato was no exception. Okay, I promise you. After that, Nagato controlled Danzo to appear in front of Conan. Everything, follow your plan. After leaving the room, Conan took Jigodo to find Kakuza. Kakuza? You're so slow, Conan. I've been waiting for so long. Is this Danzo? The moment he saw the Hell Road, Kakuza subconsciously wanted to attack. This is a bounty of 100 million taels. Who wouldn't be tempted? Fortunately, he knew where this place was and who Conan was. Since Danzo appeared here, it means that he is not dangerous. After all, there is a god with a second-year disease in the Hidden Rain village. If you dare to take action here, you are looking for death. Why is Danzo here? You don't have to worry about this. You just need to take him to various exchange offices, and I will come forward to exchange the bounty when the time comes. Various exchange offices? Yes, that's what I thought. Conan told Kakuza about his money swindling plan. After listening, Kakuza also gave Conan a thumbs up from the bottom of his heart and exclaimed, "Sure enough, you are not a good person either." Conan. Chapter 81 Shionen. Start shooting people out of money. To be honest, Akatsuki is actually quite rich. After all, there is Kakuza, the hard-working treasurer. But Akatsuki is rich, which does not mean that Conan is rich. Conan knows that her strength is not particularly strong. In order to guard against the masked man with bad intentions, she has been secretly buying detonating tags. Most of the money that Kakuza gave to the organization was used by her to buy detonating tags. Even so, she still felt it was not enough. Every day she has to spend a lot of time using paper escape to make detonating tags. Fortunately, she is a paper escape ninja, and making detonating tags can save a lot of material costs, and only needs to consume her own chakra. To date, she has collected billions of detonating tags through purchases and self-production. She seems to have a phobia of insufficient firepower, and billions of detonating tags do not satisfy her. Look, once there is a way to make money, she doesn't mind using some means to make money. Thanks to Danzo, some underground money exchange offices in big cities have at least 100 million taels of cash in reserve, so that once someone gets Danzo's head to claim the reward, they can deliver it as soon as possible. Really? This will save us a lot of trouble. On the way, Conan asked Kakuza about the underground money exchange office. Kakuza also told him everything he knew. Originally, Conan planned to let Jikakudo stay in the underground money exchange office for a day or two so that the money exchange office could raise money. Now, they have already prepared the money, and it would be embarrassing if they don't go to get it. Leave the killing to Hidden. On the side, Hidden, who was bored, heard what Conan said and immediately replied happily, "Ha, don't worry, I will let those people die a worthy death." When he thought about offering some sacrifices to the evil god again, Hidden became excited. Idiot X2 seeing Hidden like this, Kakuza and Conan cursed in their hearts. They didn't say it or say it out loud. Kakuza was a little used to Hidden's neuroticism. There was no way. Facing this partner who couldn't be killed and didn't listen to scolding, Kakuza was also helpless. Conan's reason was very simple. She thought of another money swindling plan, and she would need Hidden's cooperation at the time, so it was not appropriate to offend him now. Half a day later, they successfully arrived at a border city in the Kingdom of Wind. Kakuza came to the door of the underground money exchange with ease and motioned Conan to take Danzo in. "Are you sure it's here?" Conan pointed at the public toilet in front of her expressionlessly, as if to say, "Are you kidding me?" Kakuza didn't answer, but Hidden shrugged and said, "It's indeed here." Not to mention this city, the underground money exchange in most other cities is located behind that public toilet. Well, I hope you didn't lie to me. After speaking, Conan and the paper clone carrying the Hell Road walked in. In a corner inside, Conan found the small mechanism that Kakuza mentioned. Pulling down the small mechanism, the wall on the side of the toilet began to vibrate and open a gap. Passing through this gap, she finally came to the underground gold exchange. It's rare that there are female ninjas here. It's just right. I haven't tasted the taste of female ninjas yet. Maybe I can have a good time this time. Beauty, do you want to come over and have a drink with me? As soon as Shonen entered, she immediately attracted the teasing of many rebellious ninjas inside. She ignored these people who were about to die, controlled the paper clone to pass through the rest area and came to the task station. Wait, do you think the person on the back of this woman looks familiar? It's just an old man. There are a lot of them in the ninja world. What's so strange about it? No, take a closer look. Damn, isn't this Danzo Shimura? Damn, there are a few black nails on Danzo's face. I almost didn't recognize him. This is a bounty of 100 million taels. When talking about the bounty of 100 million taels, the rest area was unusually quiet for a while, and then it was like nothing happened again, drinking and chatting. But if you look closely, you will find that their peripheral vision is fixed on Shonen. Needless to say, you can know what they want to do. 100 million taels is enough to make this group of people fight for their lives. Manager, I'll exchange the bounty. Please wait. Obviously, the staff also recognized Shimura Danzo and immediately turned to the back, apparently to call the director or other managers. Not long after, a fat bald old man appeared in front of Shonen. You don't mind if we verify it? Of course not. Verifying the goods is a legitimate procedure, and Shonen also objects. Anyway, no matter how the other party verifies it, what is sent here is the real Shimura Danzo. The fact is just as Shonen expected. After the staff used several methods to confirm that it was Danzo himself, the bald old man readily gave the bounty. Of course, as an underground gold exchange, no matter how much the bounty is, they need to charge a 10% handling fee. Here is 90 million riyal, please take it. Okay, Danzo will leave it to you. Picking up 2 large boxes of money, Conan slowly walked out of the underground money exchange. The group of greedy wandering ninjas followed Conan out after seeing her leave. Wait. Before Conan could walk away, the group of people couldn't wait to take action. They stopped Conan and wanted her to put down the 2 large suitcases. What a pity, you could have lived a little longer. After saying that, Conan quickly evacuated with the boxes. For the next plan, she couldn't have any relationship with Kakuza and Hidden. Don't go. Water style. Water bubble bullet wind style. Windblade. Seeing that Conan was about to run, the group of people immediately launched an attack. Unfortunately, all these attacks hit Hidden, who suddenly appeared. Damn it, you bastards, this hurts. Hidden held the bloody March sickle in his right hand and looked at the group of people in front of him with a ferocious face. Who are you? No matter who you are, get out of my way. That's right, get out of here quickly, don't delay us from making money. In the crowd, several stray ninjas have already woken up and felt that something was wrong and wanted to escape. But it's not that easy. Kakuza, who was lying in ambush on the side, was waiting for this moment. He didn't even use the Earth Resentment Guard, but just relied on physical skills to kill those who wanted to escape. Damn Kakuza, don't touch my sacrifice. Seeing that Kakuza had already started, Hidden didn't hesitate and rushed into the crowd waving his sickle. A group of stray ninjas obviously couldn't withstand the attack of the immortal duo and were soon slaughtered. Get up quickly, time is money, do you know how much money you have wasted? Hidden lay on the ground, enjoying the pleasure brought by the sacrifice, but this operation made Kakuza very unhappy. It will be done soon, it will be done soon, don't rush me. After lying on the ground for a while, Hidden pulled out the weapon stuck in his body and walked into the underground gold exchange covered in blood. This time, Kakuza did not follow Hidden in. After all, he was a bounty hunter on the surface. Killing these people with bad intentions was fine, but going to the underground gold exchange to kill people and rob Danzo was a different matter. He would have to rely on the underground gold exchange to make money in the future. Besides, having Hidden was enough. He didn't believe that there would be anyone here who could stop Hidden. Hidden. Thank you for your trust, brother Kakuza. Bald old man. Don't come over here. 4. Chapter 82. The frustrated Black Zetsu, Shonen and the others were very fast. In just 2 days, they traveled through 3 countries. They were the land of wind, the land of rivers, and the land of fire. The underground money exchange offices in the 3 countries and 5 border cities all suffered, causing Shonen to make a fortune of 500 million. Well, the handling fee was also taken back by Fuden. However, Shonen did not let Fuden take the other money that was not part of Danzo's bounty. This is called a thief's code of conduct. The managers of the underground money exchange offices. You are such a good person. When Black Zetsu, who had been in charge of other things, learned that Shonen had robbed the underground money exchange office of 500 million taels, he was completely numb. What's going on? Could it be that the Akatsuki organization is now unable to make ends meet? It actually has to rely on cheating to obtain funds. The most important thing is that the boss behind this underground money exchange office is Black Zetsu. Why is the underground money exchange office so well informed? Isn't it because of Black Zetsu? It has so many white zetsu in its hands, and it uses them to explore some useful intelligence to sell for money. Isn't this too much? Conan's actions really pissed it off. What is this? Is it one's own people robbing one's own people? Of course, it was impossible for it to question Conan. After all, it was the boss of the underground gold exchange, and they didn't know about it. Not only did they not know, but everyone in the entire ninja world, except for 2 or 3 people in the underground gold exchange, didn't know that it had this identity. However, not being able to question it doesn't mean that it can't try it out. You have to know that the Akatsuki organization is a gathering place for S-level rebel ninjas. What if Conan ran out of money one day, and someone else went to cheat again? It would really be unbearable. Conan, I heard that you got a lot of money for the organization. After returning to the Hidden Rain village, Black Zetsu immediately found Conan. At this time, Conan was returning the Hell Road to Nagato. Because the 6 Paths of Pain couldn't leave Nagato too far, Conan didn't let Nagato go with him in this money swindling operation. First, Nagato was inconvenient to move. Second, she just needed Danzo as a prop, and whether this prop could move would not affect her next actions. Where did you hear that? Conan was as wary of Zetsu as she was of the masked man. In the entire Akatsuki organization, there were only 2 people she couldn't stand. Besides the masked man, it was Zetsu. Hehe, the whole ninja world has heard that there is a female ninja who is using Danzo's body to cheat people out of money. Really? Yes. Conan looked a little regretful, thinking that she would have to keep a low profile for a while. Unfortunately, she still wanted to use Hiden's head to continue cheating people out of money. Hiden's bounty was not as high as Danzo's 100 million, but it was at least 20 or 30 million. Cheating a few more times would still be a lot of money. What a pity. Looking at Shionen's regretful look, Black Zetsu's face looked very ugly. Fortunately, it was born a black lump, so no matter how ugly its face was, others couldn't see it. Black Zetsu. I have to find something to attract their attention, otherwise I don't know and my little treasury will be in trouble again. Seeing that Black Zetsu had not left yet, Conan could not help but ask, do you have anything else to say? Of course, I have something to ask Pain. Okay, come with me. Conan took Black Zetsu and found Tendo Pain on a high tower. Pain, Zetsu has something to ask you. Tendo turned his head and looked at Black Zetsu and asked, just tell me what you want to say. Black Zetsu did not say it directly, but said in a roundabout way, Pain, don't you think something is wrong with Konoha recently? What's wrong? Given the friendship between the Third Hokage and Danzo, what did the latter do that caused him to defect from Konoha? Black Zetsu's words made Conan and Pain ponder. Yes, the Third Hokage and Shinura Danzo have been partners for decades. Combined with the intelligence, when Danzo sent people to assassinate the Third Hokage did not severely punish Danzo, but just let him reflect on his mistakes behind closed doors. What is the difference between this and no punishment? Thinking about it this way, Danzo's defection is really very strange. However, Danzo has been turned into hell, so even if he wants to read something from his brain, he can't do it. You are the intelligence officer of the organization, so this matter is left to you. Black Zetsu. No, I want to find something for you to do, not for me to do anything, bastard. Black Zetsu was so frustrated. You robbed my money and asked me to do something. This life is really unbearable. But it can't turn against you at this stage. It still needs to use Nagato and the Akatsuki organization to capture the tailed beasts. Okay. Helplessly, Black Zetsu can only agree. Of course, it is impossible for it to investigate in person, so it can just send a few White Zetsu to show its respect. Anyway, White Zetsu's spore technique is full of secrecy. It is just suitable for this mission. 2 days later in Konoha village, Senju Tobirama was saying goodbye to the 5th generation Jiraiya. You must take the matter of White Zetsu to heart. Don't worry, 2nd generation, we won't take it lightly. That's it, everyone, see you next month. This time through, Senju Tobirama has gained a lot. Not only did he exchange the parameters of cloning technology for the technical parameters of Orochimaru, he also exchanged the news and experimental data of White Zetsu, as well as several talismans for detecting White Zetsu's possession, for Orochimaru's undead transformation. He has been interested in this forbidden technique for a long time, but he didn't have any extra things to exchange before. Now that he has the goods, he immediately exchanged them. This is also the reason why he set the time of crossing to 5 days later, the deadline. He wants to use these 5 days to do more experiments on White Zetsu so that he can exchange for undead transformation. By the way, he also secretly went to the cemetery where the village heroes were buried and got some cell tissues of Nohara ring. Tobirama. It's really a lot of games. Orochimaru is not at a disadvantage. After all, White Zetsu was very suitable for experiments. Especially after hearing that White Zetsu still had Hashirama cells in his body, Orochimaru became even more interested. Jiraiya, old man, I'm going back to the laboratory. Don't bother me if you have nothing to do. Senju Tobirama and his group traveled back, and Orochimaru had no need to stay in the office. He said hello to Jiraiya and the Sandmi, took 3 more talismans, and left the Hokage's office. Old man, the ninja world is getting more and more dangerous now. Yes. How could the 5th Jiraiya and the Sandmi not know about the money scam that was making a lot of noise in the ninja world? Knowing this, they also knew about Danzo's death. They knew Danzo's strength. Without the Sharingan and his energy, he also had the strength of a Chunin. With the Sharingan and his energy, even if he couldn't win, he could still run away. They really couldn't believe that such a Danzo died in obscurity, and they didn't even know who killed him, but they roughly knew that it should be a woman. The matter of Danzo's death has not been figured out yet, and now here comes White Zetsu. It's really a headache. Who said it wasn't? The 2 sat at the desk at a loss, silently analyzing the situation in the ninja world. After a while, the 5th Jiraiya couldn't stand it anymore. He scratched his hair irritably, looking at the talisman on the table. He didn't think too much, picked up a piece and stuck it on his body. Jiraiya, what are you doing? Nothing, I want to try the effect of this talisman. Didn't Tobirama teacher say that this talisman is only used to test the possession of White Zetsu? You are not possessed, so it can't be detected. What, you are really possessed? In the unbelievable eyes of the 3rd generation, a pale body crawled out of Jiraiya's body. White Zetsu. Surprise motherfucker, the original work did not specify who the boss of the underground gold exchange was, so here we will assume that he is the boss of Black Zetsu. It can be regarded as a second setting equals. Chapter 83. Information brought by White Zetsu. Is this the White Zetsu? Seeing the White Zetsu coming out of his body, Jiraiya of the 5th generation was not panicked. He had already known from Tobirama Senju that the White Zetsu was only a Chunin at best. With this strength, Jiraiya of the 5th generation and the 3rd generation Hokage were just a little calm. Do you want to give up resistance after I beat you up, or do you want to surrender obediently? Well, it seems that being beaten up will be very painful, so please have mercy on me, sir. After saying that, the White Zetsu knelt on his knees with his back to Jiraiya of the 5th generation under the frowning gazes of the 2 men, with his buttocks raised high, as if he was ready to be picked. Even if the 2nd generation said that every White Zetsu has a bit of a weird personality, this one is too weird. Jiraiya of the 5th generation helplessly complained with his right hand on his forehead, and then kicked the White Zetsu's buttocks. I don't like this. I am HA. The 3rd Hokage shook his head and came to the White Zetsu who was lying on the ground and couldn't get up. He used a sealing technique to seal the chakra and handed the guy to 2 angry ninjas. At the same time, he also took a talisman and stuck it on himself. If he was also possessed, he would be caught together. Unfortunately, he was not possessed by the White Zetsu. You hand him over to Orochimaru. Yes, Lord Sandmi. After sending White Zetsu away, the 5th Jiraiya looked at the 3rd Hokage and said, why did White Zetsu come to possess us? The 3rd Hokage thought for a while and said, is he here to gather intelligence? After saying that, he was a little unsure. Because he didn't know how long White Zetsu had been possessing Jiraiya. If he had been possessed since Jiraiya returned to the village, then things would be a bit serious. Senju Tobirama said that White Zetsu was Madara's subordinate, and there were quite a few of them. Jiraiya was possessed. Does that mean that Madara will start his plan? After telling the 5th generation Jiraiya his guess, the latter shook his head. I don't think Uchiha Madara is still alive. Even if he is still alive, he is estimated to be almost 100 years old now. No matter how powerful he was before, I don't believe he can withstand the ravages of time. It would be good if he can retain 1/10 of his strength. Time is the biggest enemy of all living things. As they get older, the strength of ninjas will become weaker and weaker. Just look at the 3rd generation Hokage. No matter how powerful he was when he was young, his strength was greatly reduced after he got old. If the light curtain hadn't appeared, he would even die at the hands of his disciple Orochimaru. You're right, but if Madara dies, then who are these White Zetsu working for? Don't worry, old man, Orochimaru will send the information. No matter what, the appearance of White Zetsu was not a good thing. This indicates that the Black Hand in the ninja world that they don't know yet has begun to act. After returning to the laboratory, Orochimaru did not rest. He took the experimental data given to him by Tobirama and started to do the experiment. However, he did not work for long before the Anbu brought White Zetsu to him. "Lord Orochimaru, this is what the Sanmi-sama asked us to give to you." With a wave of his hand, Orochimaru indicated that the two could leave. After the two left, he looked at White Zetsu, who was stroking his buttocks with excitement. "Uncle, do you want to play?" If this White Zetsu dared to do this to Jiraiya, he would definitely be beaten up. The kid in the Hokage's office is a good example. But with Orochimaru, he would not be beaten. Because Orochimaru is a real pervert. He stretched out his long tongue, licked his lips, and said, "Hey, let me have some fun." White Zetsu felt that something seemed to be wrong. When he was at the base, whether he flirted with Black Zetsu or Obito, he was either ignored or beaten. He has never been asked to play like Orochimaru did. He really wants to play? Well, if I say I'm joking, do you believe me? Orochimaru walked towards White Zetsu step by step. His long tongue, saliva, and sick smile were really too abnormal. "I believe it, of course I believe it." "Since you believe it, why do you still come closer?" "Guess." Don't come closer. Don't. Yeah. Meteor. Orochimaru didn't care what White Zetsu was doing. The best experimental materials appeared in front of him, and he would not let him go easily. Of course, before he really started the experiment, he still needed to interrogate White Zetsu. Know some things they should know. In the evening, Orochimaru handed the information he got from White Zetsu to the Yambu who protected him. "Give this information to Jiraiya or the old man." "Yes, Lord Orochimaru." After handing over the information, Orochimaru turned around and looked at the two White Zetsu lying on the ground, looking like they were beaten to a pulp, and laughed. By the way, this extra White Zetsu came out of Orochimaru. It's really a double happiness. "Old man, come and have a look." In order to wait for the information from Orochimaru, the 5th generation Jiraiya and the 3rd generation Hokage did not go home, but stayed in the Hokage's office. As the current leader of Konoha village, the 5th generation Jiraiya was the first to read the information revealed by the White Zetsu. This look made him feel very nervous. "What's wrong?" Picking up the information, the 3rd generation Hokage spoke while reading it. "This information is a bit too shocking." "Yes, it is indeed shocking." The 3rd generation Hokage read 10 lines at a glance and finished it quickly. "The people behind these White Zetsu are actually Uchiha Obito." "Yeah, we should have thought of it long ago." Madara deliberately made Obito awaken his mange king, which was not a good thing. Thinking of Obito mentioned by the way when Minato Namikaze was counting on the light curtain, the 5th Jiraiya and the 3rd Hokage were very troubled. In addition, the intelligence also mentioned things about the Akatsuki organization, which made them feel even more difficult. In particular, the fact that the leader of the Akatsuki organization has the Samsara eye made the 5th Jiraiya have a bad premonition. The only good news is that Madara should be dead. As for Obito, we know that the ability of his mange king Sharingan is Kamui, and he has the ability to become a hollow. If we really fight him, we don't need to be afraid. As for the Akatsuki organization, it seems that we need to have a good talk with Orochimaru. According to the information provided by Itachi, Orochimaru also joined the Akatsuki organization that year. No matter why Orochimaru did not take the initiative to mention the Akatsuki organization to them, they really need to ask Orochimaru about the Akatsuki organization now. Let's do it tomorrow. Orochimaru is probably doing some experiment right now. If we interrupt his experiment rashly, he will definitely be unhappy. Okay, let's do it tomorrow. Chapter 84. The 6th character review. The next morning, Jiraiya the 5th and the 3rd Hokage went to Orochimaru's experimental base to ask about the Akatsuki organization. Unfortunately, Orochimaru didn't know much. Although he joined the Akatsuki organization very early, he also quit early. In addition to the names of some members of the organization, he only knew that the leader of the Akatsuki organization had a Samsara eye. He didn't even know what the members of the organization were good at. Therefore, Jiraiya the 5th and the 3rd Hokage had limited games. However, they also reached a consensus that the people in the Akatsuki organization were a group of dangerous guys. If it is not necessary, it is better not to confront head-on. Jiraiya, you must not be impulsive. It's better to wait until the light curtain has counted all the characters of the other party. It's not too late for us to act. When Jiraiya the Fifth heard from Orochimaru that the leader of the Akatsuki organization had a samsara eye, he felt something was wrong. Because he took in 3 disciples in the Rain Country that year, one of them was called Nagato, who had the samsara eye. And he also knew that after he left, the 3 disciples also established an organization called Akatsuki. If Danzo hadn't interfered, his 3 disciples might not have died, and the organization would not have disbanded. The same organization name, the same leader has the samsara eye. Could this be a coincidence? The 5th generation Jiraiya was a little unconvinced. Fortunately, he still knew that he was the Hokage of the village, otherwise he would definitely run to the Hidden Rain village to verify it as soon as possible. Don't worry, old man, I won't be impulsive. After all, I'm the 5th generation Hokage of the village. I have to be responsible for my subordinates and villagers. Well, it's best if you think so. The sun rises and the moon sets, and time passes. Soon it is time for the monthly video inventory. Today, Tobirama's office attracted a new guest, that is Uzumaki Mito. Tobirama, what do you want me to do here? Entering the office, Mito saw Tsunade, Sarutobi Hiruzen and others, and said, so many people are gathered here, is there something big going to happen? After the battle to annihilate the Kinkaku and Ginkaku brothers, Tobirama knew that Mito's nature was very lively and cheerful. If it wasn't for suppressing the damn 9-tailed fox, she should be like most women, happily strolling around the streets with her bestie, eating all kinds of delicious snacks. Instead of staying at home every day, never leaving the house. The reason why he asked Mito to come to the office to watch the light screen was to compensate her. She really sacrificed too much for the village. Grandma, let me tell you something. Little Tsunade happily pulled Uzumaki Mito's hand and continued, in a while, a magical light screen will appear in the office, and the light screen will list all kinds of people in our ninja world. For example, the last issue listed the 4th generation Hokage of the village. Hearing this, Mito covered his mouth in surprise. Even the people in the future can be listed? Little Tsunade nodded affirmatively, yes, Grandma. In that case, then I'm starting to get a little interested. Not long after sitting next to little Tsunade, the 9-tailed fox in Mito's body said, stupid woman, they must be lying to you. How could there be a ghost light screen that can understand the future? Even the old man 6 paths can't do this. Shut up, 9-tailed fox, don't force me to beat you when I'm in a good mood. Thinking of Mito's thick chains, the 9-tailed fox was furious for a while, and then it died down. 9-tailed fox. Don't get me wrong, I'm not afraid of her. This is called a hero who doesn't suffer a loss in front of him. As time reached 8 o'clock in the evening, the magical light curtain appeared in the Hokage offices of the 2 worlds at the same time. Hi, dear audience, hello, I'm the new Lin Tian. I received a private message from a fan, saying that the characters I listed in the previous issues were all high-level officials of Konoha. In the next few issues, they want me to list some supporting characters to change the taste. As the most fan-loving of course I have to satisfy you. So in this video today, let's talk about Tsunade's lover, Kato-dan. Oh, I seem to have heard something incredible. Mito turned his head and smiled at Tsunade, whose face had become rosy, and teased her softly. Grandma. Tsunade was very shy. She didn't expect that the character listed in this issue would be her future lover. By the way, why is it a lover, not a boyfriend? Just as Tsunade was thinking about this question, Jiraiya, who was already jealous, muttered unwillingly. I want to see if this bastard named Kato-dan wants to die, dares to seduce Tsunade. After saying that, he subconsciously looked at little Tsunade. He found that little Tsunade was staring at him intently. Obviously, his muttering was heard by little Tsunade. Looking around, he also saw that the people around him looked at him with a faint smile, which made him very embarrassed. Don't get me wrong. Little Jiraiya stood up and explained in a panic. I want to say that Tsunade has a bad figure and a bad temper. How desperate must Kato-dan be to like Tsunade? It would be better if he didn't explain it. This explanation really added fuel to the fire. Jiraiya, you fucking die. Little Tsunade didn't say any extra nonsense, and directly punched little Jiraiya out. If there weren't so many people at the scene, she would have to destroy this idiot. Compared with the lively office of Tobirama, the office of the 5th generation Jiraiya seemed relatively deserted. Kato-dan, what a pity for him. Looking at the handsome face of Kato-dan on the screen, the 3rd Hokage couldn't help but think of some things that happened at the beginning, and felt a little melancholy for a moment. But the 5th Hokage Jiraiya's face was normal. So many years have passed, Kato-dan died, Tsunade left, and he no longer had any prejudice against this rival. Old man, Tsunade still doesn't want to come back. Yes. Speaking of Tsunade, the third Hokage sighed and continued. I, an old man, went to invite her in person, but she didn't give me any face and left without saying a few words. Didn't you tell her that Danzo is dead? I became Hokage, and the village is no longer the same as before. I did. Why didn't I say it? But Tsunade said she doesn't care at all. What else can I do? Do you want me to force her back? I'm afraid I'm no match for her. Okay, let's put Tsunade's matter aside for now, just keep track of her whereabouts in time. If we can't persuade her, can't we even persuade the second Hokage? The fifth Hokage Jiraiya's purpose is very simple. He just wants to persuade Tsunade to come back. Today's ninja world has a sense of the last calm before the storm. Jiraiya is really worried that Tsunade will stay outside the village. If something goes wrong, he won't even have time to rescue her. After the video is over, let's ask Mr. Tobirama and see if he has any suggestions. That's what I meant. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 85. Spiritualization. The character of Ajuin is the same as that of Hitachi Sakamo, the father of Wukai. They are all created to enrich the background stories of the main characters. By the way, I want to convey some characters born from some fancy wills. Mito. Tobirama, what does it mean? Tobirama. The meaning is very simple. Before the light curtain appeared, we were all characters in a certain work. Mito. So, we're virtual. Tobirama. Yes, virtual. Mito. I don't believe it. Please explain it to me. Tobirama. However, due to the small amount of information about these characters, coupled with some highlights deliberately added by the author, they seem to be somewhat mysterious. In addition to being a Konoha Jonin, Kato-dan is also known as Tsunade's first love. Logically speaking, Tsunade's irresistible ladylike temperament, coupled with the background of the princess of the Senju clan, a large clan, the people in the village who want to contribute to the descendants of the Senju clan can probably line up to Brokeback Mountain. Impossible, Tsunade's figure can't be that good. Looking at Tsunade's huge evil on the screen, little Jiraiya subconsciously refuted. After he finished speaking, he reacted. It seems that, maybe, it shouldn't be said in front of the person concerned. That. Tsunade, can you be gentler? Hehe, what do you think? I think you can. Hectares, I don't think so. Little Tsunade stared at little Jiraiya with a dark face, and after a few nonsense words, he punched little Jiraiya in the stomach, making him stick to the wall and unable to buckle. I didn't expect that my Tsunade's figure would be so explosive in the future. Everyone saw the fight between little Tsunade and little Jiraiya, but they didn't care. At most, a few ribs were broken, which was not a big deal. Grandma, what are you talking about? Little Tsunade, who was still very angry just now, immediately became shy after hearing what Mito said. At the same time, she was also thinking, can she really become a matured big sister as shown on the light screen? Looking down at her flat chest, this doubt became even stronger. Not only the handsome guys in the second dimension have this idea, but people in the third dimension also have the idea of contributing to the reproduction of the Senju clan. Then Tsunade, who is known as the Phantom God in the fandom, can be attracted to this elegant man in front of him. I believe that this Kato must have a special skill. And his extraordinary feature is that he has an S-level ninjutsu that can kill people invisibly, called the spiritualization technique. From the official book, this move can cover all aspects besides defense, and the attack distance can be close or far, long or short. At critical moments, it can also remotely nurse teammates, which is indeed a must-have ninjutsu for home and travel. But this move is unique in the whole article, which makes Kato break away from the category of mediocrity. Spiritual transformation technique. On the hanging surface of the light curtain, there was an official book introduction to the spiritual transformation technique, which made Tobirama very excited. The official book said, the spiritual transformation technique can separate one's spirit from the body, turn it into a spirit, and possess the enemy, causing the enemy's spirit to collapse from the inside and die. At the same time, the spirit itself also has the consciousness of the caster. Seeing this, Tobirama immediately realized that this spiritual transformation technique could make his resurrection method more perfect. Originally, his original plan was to use cloning technology to clone and create a body of a person who needed to be resurrected, and then use the impure world reincarnation to resurrect this person, and then let this person learn Orochimaru's undead reincarnation and transfer his soul to the clone. In this way, a true resurrection can be achieved. However, this method has a disadvantage. That is, the impure world reincarnation person cannot learn the undead reincarnation, so what should he do? He was still having a headache about this problem, but he didn't expect that this issue of the Light Curtain video would give him a big surprise. The spiritual transformation technique can make one's soul separate from the body, so if it is used in reverse, can other people's souls also separate from the body? Tobirama knew that this might be difficult. But who is he? He is a famous ninjutsu master in the ninja world. If he is given some time, this spiritual transformation technique may not be impossible to transform into what he wants. I just don't know whether this spiritual transformation technique is a blood limit or a family secret technique. I hope it is a family secret technique. The difficulty of transforming the blood limit is very great. In comparison, transforming the secret technique is not that difficult, which can save him a lot of time to transform the ninjutsu. Tobirama has decided that after the video is finished, he will go to the Kato family and have a good chat with their head, Kato-in. With this move, Kato-dan has one step into the threshold of flirting with Tsunade. Of course, just one skill is not enough to impress Tsunade, the village flower at the time. After all, our brother Jiraiya is good at everything, but in the end, Kato-dan, the scheming boy, got there first. Little Jiraiya touched the place where he was hit, and he was very unhappy when he heard that were getting there first. It was like he had raised lambs for so many years, and he hadn't eaten them yet, but they were eaten by others. In short, little Jiraiya was very upset with this man named Kato-dan. Judging from his appearance on the screen, he should be the same age as us. I've decided. I'll find him tomorrow and beat this guy up. As he said that, little Jiraiya seemed to have thought of something. He came to the side of little Orochimaru and said, "Orochimaru, you go with me tomorrow." "No." Little Orochimaru decisively rejected little Jiraiya. "No, I'm afraid I can't handle him if I go alone." "You're self-aware now. As everyone knows, Jiraiya was a slacker when he was a child. Although his strength is definitely much stronger than that of civilian ninjas of the same age, Kato-dan and others are not civilian ninjas. No matter how small the Kato family is, it is still a serious ninja family. Orochimaru, can you bear to watch your good brother get beaten? Then why don't you just not go?" "Impossible, I must beat this guy up, otherwise I will feel uncomfortable." Looking at the road Jiraiya, Orochimaru knew that if he didn't agree, he would be annoyed to death by this guy later. Okay, I'll go with you tomorrow." Ha, I was right about you. From today on, you are my half-brother. If you harass me again, I won't go tomorrow. Okay, I'll shut up right away. On the other side, Tsunade, who was sitting next to Mito, heard that Jiraiya and Orochimaru were conspiring, and she curled her lips a little unhappy. She wanted to scold the two of them, but was stopped by Mito. "Grandma." Little Tsunade, don't you think this is fun?" "Fun? What's fun about this? Isn't it fun enough to watch men fighting for you?" "Grandma, how can you say that? What's wrong with me saying that? I don't believe you are not curious about this, Kato. It's just right. Follow Jiraiya tomorrow and we will go and see what kind of person will be able to win your heart in the future." "Grandma, if you do this again, I will ignore you." "Oh, our little Tsunade is still shy." Little Tsunade. Chapter 86 Kato-dan's routine. Kato-dan's advantage over Jiraiya is that he is really good at playing tricks. At a meeting of the Jonins hosted by the Third Hokage, Tsunade died on the battlefield because of her younger brother, Nawaki. Little Tsunade. "What? My brother is dead?" So Tsunade was heartbroken and suggested to the Konoha high level that the four-man team on the battlefield needs to be equipped with a medical expert to improve the survival rate. To simplify, Tsunade requires that there must be a nurse in the combat team. At the same time, Tsunade also proposed to establish a training mechanism for medical ninjas. As soon as the voice fell, the Third Hokage glanced at Tsunade as if he was looking at a fool, and politely but tactfully rejected it. After all, this proposal would not only make Konoha's funds explode, but it would also be difficult to implement during the tight period of World War II at the time. Therefore, even Jiraiya and Orochimaru, who were in the same team, did not support Tsunade, but put on an attitude of "you guys talk about your own things, it has nothing to do with me." The fifth generation Jiraiya slapped himself hard. How could he be so upright, rational, and upright back then? If he had supported Tsunade at that meeting, Tsunade might have been his girlfriend long ago, and there would be no turn for Kato-dan. What were you thinking at the time? Yes, Jiraiya, I also want to know why you didn't support Tsunade at the time. Jiraiya's actions puzzled Orochimaru and the third generation Hokage. Orochimaru was originally a very rational person, and he was not pursuing Tsunade, so it was easy to understand that he did not support her. As the leader of the village, it was normal for the third generation Hokage not to support Tsunade's proposal when the funds were insufficient. But Jiraiya was different. Who doesn't know his personality? He is lustful, unreliable, and impulsive. At the time, they all thought that Jiraiya would stand up to support Tsunade, and even the third generation Hokage had prepared words to say against Jiraiya. What happened? I don't know what's wrong with this guy. He didn't support Tsunade. He gave the opportunity to Kato-dan in vain. I don't know why I was so stupid that I didn't support Tsunade. I regretted it afterwards. Jiraiya Godami sighed to the sky, looking like he regretted it. Especially when he knew that Kato-dan used this to get in touch with Tsunade and later became her boyfriend, he was even more angry. You adults have a strange relationship. Unlike me, I have always liked Sakura so much. I will support her no matter what she says. Seeing Naruto's arrogant look, Jiraiya Godami didn't indulge him and said, really? Then why did I hear that Sakura doesn't like you, but likes Sasuke? Damn Sasuke, don't think about taking Sakura away from me. Sasuke, who was still watching the show, didn't care when he saw that Jiraiya Godami brought the trouble to him. He shrugged and said, Uchiha Sasuke, look handsome and graduated with the best grades in the ninja school. After saying that, he pointed at Naruto and said, you, Uzumaki Naruto, look ugly and graduated with the worst grades in the ninja school by chance. Tell me, are you comparable to me? Any normal person would know how to choose. Obviously, Sakura is a normal person. If it were in the past, Sasuke would not have said so much to Naruto. But when he knew that Naruto was the son of the fourth Hokage and had been treated unfairly since childhood, his attitude towards Naruto also changed a little. At least he could joke with him. While warming Naruto, he also warmed himself. Asshole Sasuke, I want to duel with you, my face is not ugly. Compared to the worst grades, you care more about your face. It can only be said that Naruto is worthy of it. The last place doesn't matter at all. He cares more about Sakura's opinion of him. And a handsome face will undoubtedly make Sakura feel more favorable. Therefore, Uzumaki Naruto will never admit that he has an ugly face, absolutely. I've decided. I will go and confess to Sakura tomorrow. Haha, then you do your best. Naruto. Tsunade, whose proposal was rejected, was about to perform, and the grumpy old sister was online. A handsome and coquettish Jonin stepped forward. Yes, this kid is Kato-dan. He immediately expressed his agreement with Tsunade's attitude, and began to preach to the high-level officials of Konoha, determined to accompany Tsunade to the end. This kid is not honest. In the Tobirama office, Sarutobi Hiruzen's words made everyone nod at the same time. There are almost no idiots at the level of Jonin. Just now, the light curtain said that it was still World War II at the time, and the funds in the village were not abundant. Under such circumstances, even Jiraiya did not agree with Tsunade's proposal, but Kato-dan stood up to support Tsunade. Oh, Kato-dan is a fool who can't see the situation clearly, and he can become a Jonin completely by luck. Oh, he has an ulterior motive towards Tsunade and wants to attract her attention. Considering that he will become Tsunade's lover in the future, his real purpose is self-evident. How can I not see this in the future? The person in charge is confused, but the bystander is clear. Little Tsunade covered her face, a little bit unbelieving that the naive person on the light curtain is herself when she grows up. Such an old-fashioned routine, how could she not notice it in the future? Didn't the light curtain say that at the time, Naoki was already dead, and you suffered a great blow? In this situation, there was a handsome and excellent Jonin who stood up to support you. Regardless of whether you were tempted at the time, at least you should have some good feelings. Mito has lived for so many years, and she knows a lot of routines to pursue girls. At the same time, she is a woman, and it is easy to understand as long as she puts herself in Tsunade's mood at the time. Unfortunately, the little Tsunade who does not have enough experience can't understand it, and she will only think that she will be stupid in the future. Tsunade on the side saw someone helping her to smooth things over, and suddenly felt that Kato-dan was so handsome when he spoke for her. So he was so touched that he immediately filled up his friend list and took the initiative to add Kato-dan to his friend list. After the meeting was over, Tsunade hurriedly thanked him in person, and Kato-dan took the opportunity to send Tsunade home. Even though that two are not going the same way, Kato-dan still insisted on walking a few more steps to send Tsunade home. Kato-dan was handsome, so Tsunade, who was still naive at the time, decisively thought that Dan was a man who made people feel safe. No, Tsunade, you can't agree to him. You can tell at a glance that this man is a veteran in the love field. He is really good at it. Seeing that Tsunade on the light screen was about to agree to the other party, little Jiraiya immediately howled in pain. His howling also successfully made little Tsunade blush. Jiraiya, shut up. I don't want to. Little Jiraiya didn't listen to what little Tsunade said, but continued to wail. My Tsunade, why are you so stupid? He is trying to trick you. At this time, the blushing little Tsunade didn't care about so much, and pushed little Jiraiya to beat him up. Asshole Jiraiya, what do you mean by your Tsunade? When did I become yours? I told you not to talk nonsense, I'll beat you to death. A violent output beat little Jiraiya black and blue. This operation also made everyone ashamed. It was too violent. At the same time, they also admired little Jiraiya in their hearts. Jiraiya is also a passionate man to like such a violent Tsunade. Come on, Jiraiya, you can do it. Don't let Tsunade harm other people in the village. Chapter 87 Kato-dan. I didn't, don't talk nonsense. Otherwise, Kato-dan is said to be high level. Kato-dan, who had the opportunity to communicate, did not enter the stage of shyness or awkward conversation, but directly said to Tsunade, whose brother had just died, I walked this road not only for you, but also to commemorate my dead sister. We used to walk this road together. The words seemed to be hinting at Tsunade crazily, as if saying, Tsunade, can you understand my misery? Obviously, it is very inappropriate to talk about such heavy topics with a person you just met, and a girl. But what Kato-dan said was that he could match Tsunade, whose brother had passed away. This up seriously suspects that this guy has privately investigated Tsunade's recent situation. After Tsunade received Kato-dan's hint, she felt that the pain of the man in front of her was comparable to her own. I immediately included Kato-dan in the boyfriend list. What is a perfect score strategy? What is a tactical retrieve that can enter the princess's heart in just one night? Kato-dan's operation is no less than that of Minato Namikaze, who is known as the King of Love, as mentioned by this up before, and is even better. He is simply the king of kings of love. I really admire him. Hehe, this boy is not a good person at first glance. Only a simple person like Tsunade will be fooled by him. Little Jiraiya, who was beaten black and blue by little Tsunade, watched Kato-dan tricking Tsunade. Even if he had to endure the pain at the corner of his mouth, he had to complain. You are the only one who talks too much. This time, little Tsunade did not beat little Jiraiya. It was really that Kato-dan was too much. Little Tsunade did not like this kind of scheming boy. If she was just a little curious about Kato-dan at the beginning of the video, now she is a little disgusted with this man. When Kato-dan was a child, he never thought that he had not even met Tsunade, but he had already been disliked by Tsunade because the live screen showed the future. This is really an unprovoked disaster. This kid is really good at it. Looking at Kato-dan on the screen, Jiraiya the 5th generation gnashed his teeth. When he was a child, the means he used to attract Tsunade's attention were similar to those of ordinary people, either pulling her ponytail or making rude remarks. Tsunade did pay attention to him, but he also paid a heavy price for it. After growing up a little, he began to act deep in front of Tsunade. But they have been together for so many years, who doesn't know each other? It's better to be flamboyant than to act deep in front of Tsunade. At least in this way, he can still get Tsunade's beating of love instead of being ignored with a roll of eyes. Jiraiya, I heard that Kato-dan has a niece named Shijin, who is also very beautiful. She is currently traveling around the ninja world with Tsunade. Orochimaru, what do you want to say? Orochimaru licked his lips and said, why don't you go and get Shijin, and take it as revenge for Kato-dan stealing your Tsunade away from you. Hearing this, Sasuke, Naruto, the 3rd Hokage, and the 5th Jiraiya himself all looked at him with a look of as if they had seen a ghost. Sasuke and Naruto were not bad, as the former had only been Orochimaru's apprentice for a short time and had not had much contact with him. The latter was even more unfamiliar. They just felt that Orochimaru always appeared in front of everyone in a taciturn manner. How could he say such an outrageous thing? The 3rd Hokage and the 5th Jiraiya, who were familiar with Orochimaru, needless to say, In the ninja world, in addition to being called the Three Ninjas together with Tsunade and Jiraiya, Orochimaru also had the title of Cold Lord. It is hard to imagine that Orochimaru, who has the title of Cold Lord, would actually say such a thing. It is really rare to see such a thing. Ahem. Orochimaru, don't say such unreliable words in the future. Hehe, I'm not thinking about you. Tsunade, you should have no chance. As for Shijin, with your fame, there should be a little chance. Of course, the premise is that Tsunade will not make trouble. No, even if I don't feel good about Kato-dan, I will not be so mean as to attack Shijin. The 5th generation Jiraiya said it with righteous words and great righteousness, which make Naruto's eyes sparkle. You're right, Lecture is immortal, it is wrong for an old cat to eat young grass. Naruto, you don't have to say it if you can't speak. The 5th generation Jiraiya covered his face. Minato, your calmness, wisdom and other good qualities, but your son did not inherit them at all. Afterwards, what happened between Tsunade and Kato-dan? The author didn't have a picture book up and I was too lazy to ask. Anyway, the powerful netizens have drawn it. Laughs. It didn't take long for the love between the two to become known to everyone. Even the corners of Takagaku knew about the two. Later, the day before the two were about to go to the front, Tsunade and Dan met on the small bridge. Kato-dan enthusiastically expressed his own values to Tsunade, telling her how much he loved the village and his friends. He also mentioned that he had no chance to protect his sister before, but he could protect the person under his crotch. And he loudly said that his dream was to become Hokage. This kid, I'm afraid he wants to become Hokage, so he pursues Tsunade. At this moment, Tobirama began to dislike Kato-dan. Although the means of pursuing Tsunade before were a bit scheming, it didn't make Tobirama dislike him. It's normal to use some means to pursue a girl. However, if Kato-dan pursued Tsunade because he wanted to be Hokage, then the nature of the matter changed. The Kato family is just a small ninja clan in Konoha village. At the time, the Santomi was still in power. Logically speaking, Kato-dan, who came from such a small family, would never have the chance to become Hokage. A family of neither mediocre nor ordinary people would have a better chance. Kato-dan is a smart man and it is impossible for him not to see this clearly. Therefore, there is a high probability that he is using Tsunade to achieve his goal of becoming Hokage. The more he thought about it, the more likely it was that Tobirama felt that this was a high possibility. The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. Teacher, don't worry. Finish reading the light screen first. If this kid really wants to use Tsunade, Sarutobi Hiruzen, will definitely not let him go. Yes, Shimura Danzo, will not let him go either. I will let him taste the most vicious illusion here. Okimichi Tofu, am trying to lose weight. It's not too much to use him as a weight, right? The hospital happens to be short of volunteers for drug testing. I don't think you will refuse me, right? Mitokado Wong, also need a moving target to practice my hidden weapon throwing technique. Tobirama's 6 disciples watched little Tsunade grow up. Maybe in the original plot, they would ignore Tsunade because of power. But now, their feelings for Tsunade cannot be faked. Anyone who dares to bully Tsunade will be against them. They will definitely make this person pay a heavy price. Uzumaki Mito also smiled and narrowed his eyes, thinking about finding an opportunity to let Kato-dan experience the pressure of the 9 tails. And little Tsunade's face was also very ugly at this time. If it is confirmed that Kato-dan is using her, then there is no need for others to take action, she can kill the other party by herself. I hope he doesn't deceive me in the future, otherwise I don't know if he can withstand my fist as big as a clay pot. Kato-dan. I didn't, don't talk nonsense. See Chapter 88. Tsunade looked at the handsome guy in front of her who was talking big and had no resistance. She was immediately shy, and the flame of love occupied the high ground. Then, Tsunade slapped Kato-dan's forehead with her lips and gave Kato-dan the ancestral necklace. The two of them were so affectionate all day long. The next day, the couple went directly to the battlefield. During the battle, Tsunade, Kato-dan and 2 other senior ninjas formed a 4-man team to carry out the mission. During the mission, Kato-dan was seriously injured and his internal organs were blown away by the enemy. Before he died, Kato-dan told Tsunade that he didn't want to diet and wanted to do the things he loved with her. Then he talked a lot about his dream of becoming a Hokage. Tsunade, who was pressing on Kato-dan, adopted a crazy collapse treatment method and gave Kato-dan a fierce breast. At this time, a teammate saw that Kato-dan's kidney was damaged and knew that he would not survive, so he said to Tsunade, "Don't press it, sister, he really has no more blood left." After hearing this, Tsunade immediately stopped what she was doing, and Kato-dan died. Tsunade, who became panicked after losing Aiden, also suffered from hemophobia and believed that only idiot would want to be Hokage. It was not until our protagonist Naruto appeared that Tsunade became a fool, that is, the 5th generation Hokage. The 5th generation Hokage. Naruto first looked at the 5th generation Jiraiya, and then looked at Tsunade wearing the Hokage hat on the light screen, and his mind was a little confused for a while. Obviously the 5th generation Hokage is a lustful immortal. Why does the light screen say that the 5th generation Hokage is the person called Tsunade? Looking at the confused Naruto, the 5th generation Jiraiya and the 3rd generation Hokage were very speechless. Orochimaru laughed even more. Only Sasuke asked in surprise, "Last place guy, don't you understand the situation yet?" "What?" Naruto's silly and cute look made Sasuke's teeth ache. "MD, this guy is actually the protagonist of our world. He is so stupid, how can he look like a protagonist? This world is probably going to end. Uchiha Sasuke, will never admit that Uzumaki Naruto is the protagonist." Naruto. As Naruto's teacher, the 5th generation Jiraiya has the obligation to help him solve his doubts. Jiraiya continued to say very painfully, "In the video on the light curtain, any person and object that appears are based on the picture displayed under the normal development of the ninja world when there is no light curtain. And when the light curtain appeared in front of us, the development of the ninja world began to change, so I became the 5th generation Hokage, and Tsunade has not returned to the village yet. Do you understand?" It feels a bit complicated, I don't quite understand." The 5th generation Jiraiya shook his head and turned to look at the 3rd generation Hokage. "No, why are you looking at me? It is your responsibility as a teacher to educate Naruto. Don't try to pass the buck." The old man of the 3rd generation was unreliable, and the 5th generation Jiraiya looked at Orochimaru again. "Don't look at me either. I can't teach my own disciples, so I don't have time to help you." Seeing that his teacher and friends didn't help him, the 5th generation Jiraiya looked at Sasuke with resentful eyes. Being looked at by the 5th generation Hokage like this, even Sasuke felt his scalp tingling. "How about I try?" "Oh, that's great. I know that you were a good boy and a good partner, Sasuke. I think you are the best outstanding young man this year." After saying that, the 5th generation Jiraiya pushed Naruto to Sasuke. And Sasuke felt that he seemed to have been fooled. Sasuke. Turning his head, he looked at Naruto's clear and stupid eyes, sighed helplessly, and slowly explained to Naruto the function of the light curtain. Tobirama's office. When seeing Kato-dan die, everyone seemed very silent. As the saying goes, the dead are the greatest. No matter how much they hated Kato-dan, when they saw him die as a Konoha, they felt a little suffocated and uncomfortable, and at the same time they felt sorry for Tsunade. It wasn't long after her brother died, and her boyfriend died. Most people really can't stand this kind of blow. No wonder the light screen said that Tsunade suffered from hemophobia afterwards. If there is no war, it would be great. Yes, I think everyone has a deep understanding of that cruelty of war. Those ambitious people who started the war should die. Don't worry, we have found a way to peace. As long as everyone is united, the ninja world will definitely be peaceful. The first few people who entered the office knew what the so-called peaceful road was. To be honest, it is very difficult to implement it. But they also know that Mr. Tobirama has begun to make preliminary preparations. As long as there is enough time, it may not be impossible to achieve the unification of the ninja world. By then, everyone will be people of the same country. Since we are all people of the same country, we can't start any wars, right? After Tsunade became the 5th Hokage and indirectly realized Kato-dan's ideal. A few years later, the 4th Shinobi World War broke out. Seeing that the light screen was about to introduce the 4th Shinobi World War, both the 5th Jiraiya and Senju Tobirama watched it very seriously. Even Sasuke, who was explaining the light screen to Naruto, subconsciously stopped talking and stared at the light screen. Kato-dan, along with many ninjas, was resurrected by Kabuto Yakushi in the form of impure world reincarnation. These impure world reincarnation people have memories and consciousness, but their actions are controlled and they can only be forced to participate in the battle. Kato-dan faced Konoha Sakimichi Choza and several people with strength above the Chunin. Fortunately, Kato-dan, who still had consciousness, instructed Choza to send people to use the 4 purple flame formation to block his actions, in order to prevent himself from being out of control and using the spirit transformation technique to assassinate the Shinobi Alliance. Shinobi Alliance? Hearing the term Shinobi Alliance, the Third Hokage felt very incredible. Having experienced 3 great ninja wars, he knows what kind of deep hatred exists between ninja villages. Apart from anything else, during the period shown on the light screen, the Hokage of Konoha was Tsunade, and her brother and boyfriend died on the battlefield. This kind of hatred is not so easy to eliminate. Tsunade is the Hokage, and it is understandable that she joined the ninja coalition for the sake of the overall situation. But in the ninja world, there are many people who are more miserable than Tsunade. Will they also let go of hatred for the sake of the overall situation like Tsunade? The third generation finds it difficult. Unless they are facing a dangerous situation where they will be destroyed if they do not form a coalition to unite. Otherwise, the third generation really can't think of how the ninja coalition was formed. It seems that the problem is mostly with Kabata Yakoshi. Kabata Yakoshi. That's right, it's me. The Impure World Alliance, whoever uses it will know it. 6. I wish all the audience a happy new year, good health, everything goes well, good luck, and great fortune. Chapter 89. Let Itachi return to Konoha. The 5th Jiraiya and the 3rd Hokage knew about Kabata Yakoshi. He was a genin of Konoha village on the surface, but secretly he was Orochimaru's spy in the village. During the Chunin exam, Hatake Kakashi also fought with him. According to Kakashi's evaluation, this person's strength is not inferior to mine. When Orochimaru returned to Konoha, Kabata Yakoshi also returned smoothly, which also gave everyone the opportunity to know him. He is now the ninja with the best medical technology in the village besides Tsunade. Kabata, it seems that he has obtained my inheritance and learned the fairy technique of Raikiden. In the picture, Kabata Yakoshi's cheeks are full of snake scales, and there are horns similar to dragons behind his ears. The most disgusting thing is that there is a face of Orochimaru on his lower abdomen. The 5th Jiraiya and the 3rd Hokage and the 2 little ones looked very uncomfortable, and they were about to get goosebumps. But Orochimaru looked at Kabata Yakoshi like this, thinking. It is impossible for him to teach Kabata Yakoshi the impure world reincarnation. At the same time, he did not tell Kabata Yakoshi the location of the Raichi cave. Kabata Yakoshi in that picture can not only use the impure world reincarnation, but also a large group of powerful ninjas from the impure world. Judging from his appearance, he has also learned the sage mode of the Raichi cave. This is very interesting. As long as he is alive, Kabata Yakoshi will definitely not have the opportunity to learn these 2 moves. The only explanation is that he is dead. Kabata Yakoshi obtained most of his inheritance from his collection and learned these 2 moves. So, who killed him? Orochimaru thought about it but could not find a definite answer, because there are still many people who can kill him. For example, Pain and Itachi of the Akatsuki organization, Jiraiya in the sage mode. Needless to say, the former, 2 beautiful pupil strongmen, are blood-beating Orochimaru. As for the latter, if Jiraiya uses the sage mode to fight seriously, Orochimaru really has no confidence in defeating him head-on. Strictly speaking, Jiraiya's sage mode is actually 3 against 1. The combat power of the 2 toad sages is not weak either. Even when Jiraiya faced him, he would definitely not go all out. There was no way, the charm of Uncle Snape to Aunt Snake was just that great. Orochimaru, it seems that you will be killed by others in the future. What Orochimaru could think clearly, the 5th generation Jiraiya and the 3rd generation Hokage could also think clearly, and the 5th generation Jiraiya even made a joke out loud. It doesn't matter, I will be resurrected anyway. Okay, just ignore what I said. It was said in the previous video that Orochimaru would use cloning technology to clone Mitsuda later. It can be seen that Orochimaru is not completely dead. Just as he said, he can be resurrected. Then what are you going to do with Kabata Yakoshi? What do you mean how to deal with it? Orochimaru looked at the 3rd generation Hokage calmly, and he obviously didn't want to deal with Kabata Yakoshi. Aren't you worried that he will betray you? Do the kind of thing that's shown in the light screen. Don't worry, old man. As long as I'm alive, Kabata Yakoshi won't betray me. Besides, he's a smart man who knows what to do and what not to do. The 3rd Hokage looked at Orochimaru deeply and said, I hope so. If the 3rd Hokage's thinking is followed, no matter whether Kabata Yakoshi is a smart man or not, he must be arrested first. Whether it's house arrest or imprisonment depends on how things develop. Fortunately, Kabata Yakoshi is now Orochimaru's man, and the 3rd Hokage has abdicated. he no longer has the power to forcibly arrest a ninja. Anyway, Orochimaru, you have to keep Kabuto Yakushi under guard. I don't want to wake up and find that the graves of most of the strong men in the ninja world have been dug up. Stupid Jiraiya, just take care of yourself and the village, and don't bother me. Haha. The fifth Jiraiya didn't argue with Orochimaru. Anyway, if Kabuto Yakushi really made a mistake, he would never give face to Orochimaru, but kill him directly. After all, Kabuto Yakushi on the light curtain was too dangerous. Later, Impure World Itachi successfully cracked Kabuto Yakushi's Impure World reincarnation technique. The Impure World ninja on the battlefield ascended to heaven on the spot. Uchiha Itachi. Sasuke was very calm except for being a little irritated when explaining the function of the light curtain to Naruto. But now he couldn't be calm, because the Impure World Itachi Uchiha appeared on the light curtain. This executioner who killed my parents really died well. Sasuke was very angry. Even if Orochimaru had told him some of the inside story of the Uchiha clan genocide, he would never forgive Uchiha Itachi who killed his parents with his own hands. Looking at the Impure World Itachi on the light curtain, Sasuke was both angry and happy. What made him angry was that he saw this beast again. What made him happy was that this beast would die in a few years. I just don't know who will kill this guy in the end. If he doesn't die in his own hands, he will be very regretful. Orochimaru saw Sasuke's heart knot and comforted him immediately. Don't worry, Sasuke, as long as you practice according to my training method, it won't be long before you are able to face Itachi head-on. I hope so. On the other side, the 5th generation Jiraiya and the 3rd generation Hokage looked at each other. The 3rd generation Hokage had already told Jiraiya that Itachi was a spy from Konoha and the deal with Itachi. To be honest, the 5th generation Jiraiya had a very complicated feeling about Itachi. You say he is a good brother with a soft heart, he killed all the people in the family, even the elderly, weak, women and children were not spared. But you say he is a perverted murderer, he let his own brother go. For this reason, he joined the Akatsuki organization despite the danger, and used the way of being a spy and the threat of his own strength to let the village keep Sasuke. What a crazy person. What should we do, Jiraiya? Should we let Itachi return to the village? After all, Itachi opened the main scheme. In today's complex situation in the ninja world, the more high and compact power Konoha has, the safer it will be. In his opinion, the genin of Uchiha can be blamed on the dead Danzo. I believe that Danzo, who has always been thinking about the village, will not blame him even if he knows about it. Danzo. You dead monkey, you don't even let go of the dead, are you still a human being? Send someone to contact him and see if he is willing to come back. Okay, leave this to me. The two never asked Sasuke's opinion from beginning to end. Because it doesn't matter at all. Even if Sasuke is now Orochimaru's disciple, he is also a genin of Konoha. They do not need the consent of a genin to do things. It's still uncertain whether Itachi will come back. If he is willing to return, then the 5th generation Jiraiya and others will also have a way to appease Sasuke. Don't you think so, the scapegoat, Shimura Danzo? Danzo. Ah, yes. Chapter 90 Kato's inventory is complete. Because of the operation of the Impure World Itachi, all the Impure World bodies on the battlefield will ascend to heaven on the spot. Before ascending to heaven, Kato-dan performed the spiritualization technique. Due to the special nature of the technique, Dan's consciousness did not disappear immediately, and he turned into a soul and flew to Tsunade side. At the time, Tsunade was fighting Uchiha Madara with the other 4 Hokages. No, Uchiha Madara was also brought out of the Impure World by Kabuto Yakushi. On the screen, Uchiha Madara fought the 5 Hokages alone. From the scene, he was still in the upper hand. Such a scene made almost all the audience watching the screen numb. Especially the 9-tailed fox in the 2 worlds. The moment they saw Uchiha Madara, their eyes instantly turned red. Damn Madara. It's no wonder that the 9-tailed fox hates Uchiha Madara so much. When Tobirama Senju tried to catch it, at least they were equal in status, and there was no situation where you were higher than me. Uchiha Madara is different. He completely treats the 9-tailed fox as a pet. The 9-tailed fox also has thoughts and dignity. How could it not be angry when it is treated as a pet? But it doesn't matter. Madara, who has the main scheme Sharingan, is really a blood counter to it, just like Itachi is a counter to Orochimaru with a damaged soul. It can be said that there is no solution. Seal. The 9-tailed fox in Mito's body is very irritable. I can't beat Madara, so can't I roar and jump to vent my anger? Mito's answer is, no. Stinky woman, don't go too far. The nine-tailed fox, who was tied up by the diamond chain, looked at Mito, who suddenly appeared in front of it with hatred. Nine-tailed fox, don't forget where you are. You're awing and jumping in my body. What's wrong? Do you want to have a party? Stinky woman, after you die, I will definitely destroy this broken village. Ha ha, didn't you see the light curtain? Even if I die, it doesn't mean you can do whatever you want. Learn about the impure world reincarnation. Nine-tailed fox. Human, fox, life is really too difficult. The time of the two ninja worlds is different. On Tobirama's side, he knew that Uchiha Madara was not dead yet, so he was just a little surprised that Uchiha Madara's impure world reincarnation appeared in the Fourth World War decades later. On the side of the fifth generation Jiraiya, it was very confusing. The light curtain said that they were only 3 or 4 years away from the start of the Fourth World War. The thought that they would face Uchiha Madara in 3 or 4 years was very confusing. Especially confusing. Isn't this guy Kabuto Yakushi afraid of being attacked by Uchiha Madara? Yes, Tobirama said that as long as you know the order of the seals of impure world reincarnation, you can get rid of the control of impure world reincarnation by reverse seals. Once Uchiha Madara loses control, the third generation did not continue, because everyone knew how difficult Uchiha Madara would be at the time. Think about it, the infinite chakra and immortality brought by impure world reincarnation, combined with Uchiha Madara who has extremely rich practical experience. Is there anyone in the ninja world who can defeat him? Just look at the miserable appearance of the 5 Hokage on the light curtain. One by one, they are almost unable to take care of themselves. The 5th generation Jiraiya knew very well that even if he replaced Tsunade, the nanny, the situation on the field would not improve at all. The gap between them and Uchiha Madara was really too big. Orochimaru, you must keep an eye on Kabuto Yakushi. If I find out that he has any improper behavior, I will definitely not show mercy. Adhering to the principle of killing the wrong person rather than letting him go, as long as Kabuto Yakushi has the slightest movement, the 5th generation Jiraiya will never let him go. Don't worry, Jiraiya, I will definitely keep a close eye on him. At this time, Orochimaru's expression became very serious. Even he didn't want to face Uchiha Madara, who was as famous as the first generation. Now in this ninja world, he is the only ninja who can perform the impure world reincarnation. As long as he puts the impure world reincarnation learning scroll away and keeps a close eye on Kabuto Yakushi, Uchiha Madara will most likely not be brought out by the impure world reincarnation. At least, he will not be brought out by the impure world reincarnation people on their side. It is obvious that the 5 Hokage are not the opponents of Uchiha Madara. When Tsunade was about to lose consciousness and be beaten to death by Madara, Kato-dan possessed her in time and saved her from Uchiha Madara's hands, and also entered Tsunade's spiritual world to reminisce. After Dan learned that Tsunade had completed all the things she wanted to complete, he was not as happy as a 200-pound child, but felt guilty towards Tsunade. He also said that he would wait for Tsunade below, but he didn't want Tsunade to come too soon. After saying that, Kato-dan attacked Tsunade's forehead with his lips, and gave all his chakra to Tsunade without a drop left. Little Jiraiya, 5th generation Jiraiya. Hard, fists hard. Finally, our brother Kato slowly disappeared under Tsunade's eyes. This bastard, I must beat him up, he dared to kiss my favorite Tsunade. Little Jiraiya also ignored his own injuries and pounded the floor of the office frantically. From what he saw in front of him, it can be seen how jealous he was of Kato-dan's leap attack. It should be anger. You pervert, I think you want to be beaten again. Don't, Tsunade, if you hit me again, I will definitely go to the hospital. Then shut your stinky mouth and stop talking nonsense to me. In order to avoid being beaten into the hospital by little Tsunade, little Jiraiya had to shut his mouth. But everyone also knew that he would definitely go to Kato-dan afterwards. This is the dignity of being a man. At the same time, the 5th generation Jiraiya was also very jealous and angry. He couldn't stand Tsunade kissing Kato-dan before. Now seeing Kato-dan kissing Tsunade on her own initiative, he was so angry that he almost exploded. For so many years, I haven't even kissed Tsunade's little hand. What right does he have to kiss Tsunade's forehead? Because he is Tsunade's boyfriend. Orochimaru's complaints were as sharp as ever, and he directly made the 5th generation Jiraiya stuck. That won't work either, he's already dead. You're jealous of a dead person, that's all you can do. Strictly speaking, Kato-dan is still Tsunade's spirit body, not her body. If you knew about the emitted process between Tsunade and Kato-dan, wouldn't you commit suicide on the spot and go to the underground to fight Kato-dan? Orochimura, you?" Seeing Jiraiya was angry, Orochimura immediately covered his ears. "I don't want to listen, I don't want to listen." What a sin. In general, Kato-dan is a good-looking young man in Konoha. If he hadn't died, he could have been a pillar of Konoha. It's reasonable for him to become Tsunade's sweetheart. From the plot of the Impure World reincarnation, Kato-dan decided to wait for Tsunade and regarded Tsunade as his dream, which is enough to prove that the relationship between the two is very strong. But if you want to ask, why Kato-dan's dream before his death was to be Hokage, but his dream after his death became Tsunade? Perhaps after his death in World War II, Kato-dan finally realized this sentence when he was wandering on the road to the underworld. With a beauty like Tsunade, why would he still want to be a Hokage? Chapter 91. This secret technique is not that secret technique. After the inventory of Kato-dan's characters was finished, the people in Tobirama's office began to leave in groups. Uzumaki Mito pulled Tsunade and talked about something while walking. From the fact that Tsunade blushed from time to time, Mito, the old driver, was probably driving. Little Jiraiya also left with Orochimura. Their residences were not actually on the way, but he told Jiraiya to ask for help. He was afraid that he would not be able to handle Kato-dan alone tomorrow, so he had to bring Orochimura along. The 6 disciples of Tobirama also went back to their homes and looked for their mothers. After everyone left the Hokage's office, Senju Tobirama began to walk towards the location of the Kato family. Because the Kato family was small and the population was not very prosperous, their clan land was arranged far away from the center of the village. The location here is not very remote, but there is less traffic. In addition to their Kato family, there are some other smaller families that were also arranged here. It is considered a small family gathering place. Has Chief Kato Weagle rested? When Senju Tobirama arrived at the gate of the Kato clan, the family ninja in charge of guarding was immediately startled. Everyone in the village knew that their Hokage was a workaholic. Usually, he would either process documents in the Hokage's office or conduct experiments in the laboratory. He usually did not visit others, but once he did, it must be something. But what on earth did the second generation have to come to the Kato clan at this time? This puzzled the guarding Kato ninja. Replying to the Hokage, Chief Kato should not have rested at this time. Then go and report it, and say I want to see him. Then please wait a moment, Hokage. With a whoosh, the guarding ninja used all his strength to run towards the clan. It was as if there was something dangerous chasing him from behind, and he ran so fast. Even Tobirama was a little surprised. This guy is good, he is really a natural gatekeeper. The population of the Kato clan is not large, but the family's residence is quite large. This is also that compensation that Tobirama gave to these small families arranged here. The location given is not good, so give them more land and let them build a bigger clan land. Anyway, the land here is not worth much, and if it can be sold to these small families, Tobirama will naturally not refuse. At this time, Kato clan leader Kato-yin was looking at the secret scroll in the library. A scroll with the unique secret technique invented by his grandfather, Kato-yin. In fact, Kato-yin has been practicing this secret technique in secret for a long time, but he has never succeeded in practicing it. Thinking of his increasingly dissatisfied wife, Kato-yin touched his old waist and secretly made up his mind to practice this secret technique to satisfy his wife Hatano. Looking at the secret formula written on the scroll when practicing the secret technique, Kato-yin felt that it was really too difficult. His tongue and fingers have been trained to be very flexible, but why can't they achieve the desired effect? Just when Kato-yin was thinking about Kato-yin, the family ninja in charge of guarding the door found this place. Chief, the Hokage is here to visit you. Hearing this, Kato-yin immediately put down the scroll in his hand, walked out of the library, and began to head to the reception room. As for Senju Tobirama, of course, he couldn't just stand outside the door and wait. He was led by another ninja and took the lead to the reception room. Hokage, I'm late, I'm really sorry. As soon as he entered the door, Kato-yin began to apologize. No matter why Tobirama was looking for him, his attitude must be good enough. Seeing Kato-yin coming in, Tobirama stood up from his seat and said, I should apologize for delaying the rest time of Kato. Hokage, you are joking. I won't go to bed so early. After chatting for a few words, the two began to sit down. I wonder if Hokage is looking for me for something? Kato-yin didn't beat around the bush, not because he was straightforward, but because he wanted to go back and continue studying Kato one finger. After all, the old waist is important. As the saying goes, 30 is like a wolf, 40 is like a tiger, and 50 can suck dirt when sitting on the ground. Hatano Yua is a few years younger than Katoyin, and now she is in her 40s. If he cannot satisfy a woman of this age, Katoyin is afraid that he will be cuckolded. Therefore, he really cannot waste a quarter of an hour. It's not a big deal. I just heard by chance that the Kato clan has a very powerful secret technique. I want to see it. I wonder if the head of the Kato clan can satisfy my curiosity. The Hokage even knows this. Hearing that Tobirama wanted to see the secret technique of his family, Katoying's expression suddenly became very strange. Is there something wrong with the head of the Kato clan? Tobirama also knew that his request was somewhat presumptuous. Put yourself in his shoes. When others find him and want to see forbidden techniques such as the Flying Thunder God technique and the Impure World Reincarnation technique, he will also feel a little embarrassed. However, in order to complete his plan, he must see the spiritualization technique. It's not that difficult, but only my grandfather knows this move, and he has been dead for many years. If the Hokage wants to see it, he can only read the practice scroll. Isn't that good? I mean, I don't mind reading the practice scroll. Originally, Tobirama's original intention was to experience the art of spiritualization in person, so as to reversely deduce the practice method of the art of spiritualization. He had never thought about watching the practice scroll. For no reason, why should others let him see the practice scroll of the family secret technique, just because he is the Hokage? Well, if he uses the identity of the Hokage to force Katoyin, he should be able to see the practice scroll. But in this way, he will have a gap with the Kato family. For the sake of the harmony of the village, he will not force it if he can. At least, he will not consider using the identity of the Hokage to force it until he can't reverse the practice method. Even he didn't expect that Katoyin would be so sensible. He showed him the practice scroll without saying a word. How can this be embarrassing? Hokage, wait a moment. I'll be right back. As soon as he finished speaking, Katoyin ran out with a whiz. After taking out the scroll from the library in a very short time, he swooshed back to the reception room. Hokage, this is the scroll that records the secret technique of our Kato clan, Kato One Finger. Kato One Finger. Hearing this, Tobirama subconsciously felt that something was wrong. But since others had already brought it, he didn't ask anything. He took it, opened the scroll and started reading. His oral skills are comparable to a dog drinking water, and his fingering skills are as flexible as a devil. What the hell is this? At this moment, Tobirama somewhat thought that Katoyin was playing a trick on him. But seeing that the other party was standing in front of him openly, it didn't seem like he was playing a trick on him. Kato clan leader, are you mistaken? Mistaken? What does this mean? Hokage, please explain. Katoyin was stunned and didn't understand what Tobirama meant at all. What I mean is, what I want to see is not Kato's finger, but the art of spiritualization. The art of spiritualization? I don't know that our Kato clan has this trick. Seeing Katoyin's confused look, Tobirama covered his face embarrassedly. He really made a big mistake. Seeing Kato-dan using the art of spiritualization on the light screen, he subconsciously thought that this trick was the secret technique of the Kato clan. The Kato clan does have a secret technique, but it is not the secret technique he wants. In this case, let's find that person involved to ask. Can you please ask the head of the Kato clan to call a man named Kato-dan over for me? Kato-dan? I'll ask someone to find him right away. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 92. You're the one called Kato-dan? Kato-dan is the strongest among the younger generation of the Kato clan. He is well known and is a true genius in the family. Kato-dan, the clan leader wants you to go to the reception room. At this time, Kato-dan had not slept either. He had just taken a shower to eliminate some of the fatigue caused by training. Okay, please wait a moment. After tidying up his clothes, Kato-dan said something to his mother Kato Megumi, and then followed the ninja who came to find him to the reception room. On the way, Kato-dan asked with a little doubt, "Lady, did the clan leader say who wants to see me?" Upon hearing this, the ninja named Kato Lei immediately replied, "The clan leader didn't tell me, but in addition to the clan leader, there is also the Hokage in the reception room. In other words, it is the Hokage who wants to see me. It should be." Kato-dan frowned subconsciously. He didn't understand. He was just a small chunin, and he didn't have much interaction with the Hokage. Why did the Hokage want to see him? With such questions, Kato Dan quickly came to the reception room and met the Kato clan leader and the second generation Hokage, Senju Tobirama. Dan, meet the Hokage, clan leader. Don't be so polite, sit down and talk first. Thank you, Hokage. The three sat down, and Kato Dan immediately asked, I wonder if the clan leader and Hokage want to see me for something? Kato did not answer, but looked at Senju Tobirama, indicating to Dan that it was the Hokage who wanted to see him, not himself. I do have something to ask you. I want to see the practice scroll of the spiritualization technique. I wonder if you agree. The difference in influence between personal secrets and family secrets is not a little bit. After knowing that the spiritualization technique is not the family secret of the Kato clan, Tobirama did things much more straightforwardly, and asked to see the practice scroll right away. This surprised and embarrassed Kato Dan. He was surprised because he had only successfully practiced this spiritualization technique not long ago, and it was a secret technique he created. The embarrassment is also easy to understand. No one wants to show the secret technique they created with great difficulty to others, even if the person is the Hokage. Fortunately, Kato Dan is not a stubborn person. He knows that he can't beat the Hokage. He nodded slowly and said, I'll bring the scroll right away. I won't look at your scroll for nothing. Come to the Hokage's office tomorrow and choose a technique from the sealed book to learn. Just consider it an exchange. The sealed book is a forbidden book that he, Tobirama Senju, created when he first became Hokage. It records ninjutsu that cause great harm or even death to the user, also called forbidden techniques. Kato Dan knows this forbidden book, and also knows that it records forbidden techniques that are powerful but also have significant side effects. It's okay to have side effects, as long as the power is strong enough. The profession of ninja is already precarious. No one knows whether they will die in the next mission. Therefore, they will grab everything that can make them stronger. Kato Dan is no exception. In his opinion, exchanging the spiritualization technique for a forbidden technique in the Book of Sealing was a big win. Using one who knows how to do it for one who doesn't know how to do it was enough to achieve the effect of 1 + 1 equal to or greater than 2. Just when Kato Dan went home happily to get the scroll, Kato suddenly said to Tobirama, Hokage, can my Kato one finger be exchanged for a secret technique in the Book of Sealing? I'm afraid that's not possible. Senju Tobirama was very speechless. Other people's secret techniques either increase their own combat effectiveness, such as the Akimichi clan's multiplication technique, or they assist teammates in fighting, such as the Amanaka clan's heart transfer technique. Unlike the Kato clan's secret techniques, they are just a joke. Can this broken thing enhance one's own strength? Can it assist teammates in fighting? Can it control the enemy and achieve the effect of controlling the field? No, it can't. If it was the 5th generation Jiraiya, maybe Kato would still have a chance. Unless Tobirama Senju was crazy, he would never trade the forbidden techniques in the Book of Sealing for some bullshit Kato one finger. Okay, I thought too much. Feeling very disappointed, Kato Toru sighed and sat down on the chair dejectedly. Tobirama ignored him. None of the people who can become the head of a family are simple. Although Kato Toru looks so dejected, Tobirama dares to bet that this guy is 100% pretending. It would be best if he could arouse the sympathy of the Hokage and then agree to his request. He would not be frustrated if he did not achieve his goal. Anyway, it doesn't cost money, so why not give it a try? What if it succeeds? Unfortunately, Tobirama's will is very firm, and he can't be fooled by such a trick. Hokage-sama, clan leader, I'm back. Soon, Kato Dan returned to the reception room with a scroll. When he saw Kato he couldn't help but ask with some confusion, Patriarch, what are you doing? Kato waved his hand and replied, my uncle is here, it's okay, don't worry about me. Kato Dan. Uncle. What the hell? Why does the Patriarch look like a family member when the uncle is here? Glancing at Kato who was still acting, Tobirama followed his words and said, don't worry about him, just think of him as having his period. Huh. Men also have their periods. Looking at the Patriarch, Kato Dan opened his mouth and eyes wide, with an expression of a broken worldview. Yes, men will feel uncomfortable for a few days every month. You don't know because you are not married yet. Kato did not refute Tobirama's words, but patted Kato Dan on the shoulder and continued earnestly. After you get married, you must be restrained, otherwise you'll not only feel uncomfortable, but also have a backache. Goddamn backache. Even if Dan was not married, he knew that Kato had kidney deficiency, which had nothing to do with menstruation. Dan, follow my instructions. Without talking too much with the clan leader, Dan handed the scroll to Tobirama after he finished speaking. Tobirama was not polite and took the scroll and left. He wanted to go home and read it slowly. Don't forget to come to my office tomorrow. Hokage, take care. I won't forget. Early the next morning, Dan began to head to the Hokage office building with great anticipation. If nothing unexpected happened, something unexpected would happen. When he was about to reach the Hokage office building, two masked guys suddenly jumped out of the alley next to him. One had black hair, and the other had white hair. Dan recognized the two at a glance. The black-haired guy was really easy to identify. White skin and snake eyes, isn't this the disciple of Sarutobi Hiruzen, the Chunin, or Orochimaru? Knowing Orochimaru's identity, it was easy to confirm the white-haired guy. Who else could it be besides Jiraiya? Just when Dan confirmed the identities of the two, the little Jiraiya opposite him raised his head, pointed at him and asked arrogantly, "You are Dan?" Chapter 93 Jiraiya. Maybe Jiraiya and Orochimaru themselves don't know that they're actually quite famous in Konoha village. Jiraiya is also a famous pervert. He goes to the women's bathhouse whenever he wants and has been caught several times. If it weren't for his teacher Sarutobi Hiruzen, he would probably be beaten to death by those angry women. Orochimaru is different. He is famous for his outstanding appearance and fair skin. With a little dressing up, he is definitely a beauty. So, when the two stood in front of Dan with their faces covered, they were recognized at a glance. "Jiraiya, Orochimaru, what do you two want from me?" Dan knew that the two are not here with good intentions, but his good family education still allowed him to ask calmly. "I'm not Jiraiya, you recognize the wrong person." "Orochimaru, right?" Orochimaru covered his face and sighed. If he couldn't stand Jiraiya's persistence, he would never come. "Idiot, you've exposed my name." "Huh. I think so. How about we dress up again and come back to bother him in the afternoon?" Little Jiraiya shook his head, looking at little Snakemaru with some embarrassment. "Can you be any more stupid?" After glaring at little Jiraiya fiercely, little Snakemaru simply took off his mask and revealed his true face. "Take off the mask. Your identity has been exposed. Is there any point in wearing a mask?" "Yes." Little Jiraiya followed suit and took off his mask as well. "So, can you tell me now what you want from me?" Hearing Dan's question again, little Jiraiya laughed and said, "Nothing, we just want to beat you up, or be beaten up by you." It was Jiraiya who wanted to beat you up, and I was just dragged here by force by him. Hearing this, little Jiraiya looked at little Snakemaru in shock as if he had been betrayed. "Orochimaru, how could you do this?" Little Orochimaru ignored little Jiraiya, but Dan raised his eyebrows and asked, "Jiraiya, are you serious?" Dan couldn't understand. He and little Jiraiya had no grudges recently or in the past. Why did he hit him? Was he jealous of his good looks? It wasn't his fault that he was good looking. "Dan, do you know what you did wrong?" After making sure that little Orochimaru didn't want to pay attention to him, little Jiraiya immediately pointed the gun at Dan. "Oh? To be honest, I really don't know where I went wrong. Your mistake is..." Before he finished speaking, little Jiraiya attacked without martial ethics. Little Jiraiya's strategy was perfect. They were close to each other, and he used words to attract Dan, and then immediately attacked. Dan didn't expect little Jiraiya to be so insidious, and he attacked him before he finished speaking. For a moment, he began to parry in a panic. At this time, Jiraiya's strength was not very strong. In a real fight, Jiraiya's chance of winning against Dan was only 40% to 60%. But at this time, he took the initiative with a sneak attack, which made it difficult for Dan to deal with. As the saying goes, the first to strike wins, the second to strike is controlled. After defending for a long time, Dan still failed to defend perfectly, and Jiraiya seized the opportunity and punched him hard in the face. Covering his face, Dan looked at Orochimaru with fear. He was not afraid of Jiraiya alone. If the other party had not taken the initiative with a sneak attack, who knows who would be beaten. If Orochimaru joined in, it would be very bad. Although Orochimaru said before that he was forcibly pulled over by Jiraiya, he didn't say that he would not help. Adhering to the idea that a hero does not suffer a loss in front of him, Dan could only endure it. "Can I leave now?" "No, I haven't yet." "Okay Jiraiya, that's enough." It was obvious that little Jiraiya didn't want to let Dan go. They had agreed to give him a beating, so how could he be satisfied with just one punch? Fortunately, there was little Orochimaru nearby, who persuaded little Jiraiya to stop and put an end to the farce. Kato-dan, you go first. After taking a deep look at little Jiraiya, Kato-dan nodded to little Orochimaru and left. Orochimaru, how can you let him go so easily? What else? Do you want to continue beating him? Through the short battle just now, I think his strength is not inferior to yours. At this point, Orochimaru glanced at the big tree on the right side of the road, and continued. If you two continue to fight, you'll definitely get really angry. What if you can't help but use ninjutsu at the time, then things will be serious. How can things be serious? Isn't it normal for two people to use ninjutsu when fighting? Idiot, don't you see where you are? This is in the village, not in some training ground. Looking at the surrounding houses and the sparse passers-by, Jiraiya said that Orochimaru was right. If he really used ninjutsu here, he would definitely be taught a lesson by Sarutobi Hiruzen. Okay, let's let him go for the time being today, we have a long way to go. After that, the two left. Jiraiya also had to cram for the last minute and practice his physical skills. Orochimaru was going to Tobirama's laboratory to study. After the two left, a familiar figure appeared from the tree that Orochimaru had glanced at. As expected of my disciple, you have such a keen sense. The person who came was Sarutobi Hiruzen. In comparison, Jiraiya, can he really be called the three ninjas together with Orochimaru and Tsunade in the future? Among his three disciples, Jiraiya was the one who gave him the most headaches. Tsunade was from the Senju clan. When Senju Tobirama was still alive, she had no shortage of resources. If she wanted to learn something, she could go home and ask her second grandfather, or find Uzumaki Mito. He didn't have to worry about it at all. As for Orochimaru, he was undoubtedly a genius. As long as he was taught ninjutsu, he could learn it quickly, and he was calm and good at thinking. Now he was studying with teacher Tobirama, so he didn't need to ask him. In comparison, Jiraiya, who was born in a commoner family, was very ordinary. He had average talent, average resources, and a very impulsive and lustful personality, which gave him the most headaches. Even with the spoiler of the light curtain, he really couldn't figure out how Jiraiya could become one of the three ninjas. In his opinion, unless something more serious happens in the future, Jiraiya's upper limit will be just an ordinary Chunin. Thinking of this, Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart moved. If there is any difference between the future Jiraiya and the current Jiraiya, it is that the current Jiraiya has not been to Myoboku Mountain. How about teaching Jiraiya the summoning technique later? After becoming the bodyguard of the daimyo, he really didn't have much time to teach Jiraiya. Taking this opportunity, teach Jiraiya the summoning technique and let him go to Myoboku Mountain as his original destiny. In this way, even if he doesn't have much time, there will be someone, Frog, to teach him. Let's discuss this matter with the teacher. Sarutobi Hiruzen knew that Tobirama was very dissatisfied with the fact that the great toad sage used Jiraiya as a tool to find that child of destiny. If he had not discussed it with Sensei Tobirama and let Jiraiya go to Myoboku Mountain, he would probably have suffered the consequences afterwards. Chapter 94. Stone Art and Spiritual Art. Tobirama didn't know what happened between Kato-dan and little Jiraiya. But even if he knew, he probably wouldn't think it was a big deal. It's normal for children to fight. That's why he didn't ask much when he saw a bruise on Kato-dan's face. Choose one from here to learn. Yes, Hokage. Unfolding the sealed book, the various forbidden techniques listed on it amazed Kato-dan. Especially when he saw the impure world reincarnation, a forbidden technique that can revive the dead. He couldn't help but sigh again that the second generation Hokage was really strong in creating techniques. The forbidden techniques in the sealed book were strong and weak, and Kato-dan was simply overwhelmed. He wanted to learn this one and that one. He couldn't help but fall into a dilemma because he could only learn one of so many forbidden techniques. At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen came to the Hokage's office. Hiruzen, you haven't set off for the fire capital today. Something delayed me a little. After saying that, he pouted at Kato-dan. Senju Tobirama understood immediately. He may not mind a fight between two kids, but Sarutobi Hiruzen, as a genuine teacher, has to mind it. It's okay if you know what's going on. So what's the matter with you coming to me now? I want Jiraiya to learn the summoning technique. Hearing this, Kato-dan, who was looking at the seal scroll in the corner, immediately pricked up his ears. The strength comparison between him and little Jiraiya was originally on par. Maybe he was stronger, but not much stronger. If Jiraiya learned the summoning technique and strengthened his own strength, then when would he be able to avenge that punch? Summoning technique. Have you found the location of Mount Myoboku? Sarutobi Hiruzen shook his head. No. Then what's the point of letting Jiraiya learn the summoning technique? Do you want him to contract the Sarutobi clan's Sarutobi demon? That, I'm afraid not. The Sarutobi demon is a very powerful summoning beast. This can be seen from the time when Orochimaru fought against the old third generation during the Konoha collapse plan. This kind of summon beast can not only help the contractor in its original state, but also can strengthen the contractor's physical attack by transforming into a golden hoop. However, the contractors of the Sarutobi summon beast have always been members of the Sarutobi clan. Outsiders cannot become contractors at all. Even if Sarutobi Hiruzen's clan leader father agrees, the Sarutobi demons will not agree. Without the summoned beast, the meaning of this technique is not very big. Tell me what you think. Sarutobi Hiruzen did not say it directly this time, but glanced at Katoban and signaled to Tobirama whether to let this guy go out first. Tobirama shook his head and told Hiruzen not to worry about him, because he didn't understand anyway. This is what I think. It doesn't explain in detail how Jiraiya contracted the toad of Myoboku Mountain. Since he doesn't know, I might as well teach him the summoning technique first and let him find Myoboku Mountain by himself. If he can find it, that would be the best. If he can't find it, there is actually no loss. Hiruzen's words made sense, and Tobirama had nothing to object to. But just as Hiruzen had thought before, Tobirama was very unhappy with the big toad sage. What right do you, a big toad, have to interfere in human affairs? Fortunately, they have been able to confirm that the child of destiny is Uzumaki Naruto. Even if the big toad still wants to use Jiraiya as a tool, they can correct it in time. Okay, let's do it according to your idea. Yes, teacher. Sarutobi Hiruzen left. He had to hurry up to teach little Jiraiya the spirit summoning technique. After teaching him, he would go to the Fire City at full speed. Dan, have you made your choice? To reply to Lord Hokage, I have made my choice. Holding the scroll, Katoban came in front of Tobirama, pointed to a forbidden technique on it, and said, I choose this, the stone and rock technique. The stone and rock technique. Sure, you can copy a copy now and practice it slowly at home. If you don't understand anything, you can ask me, but remember, you cannot reveal this technique to others without my permission. Yes, Hokage. By the way, can you tell me why you chose the stone and rock technique? Nodding, Tobirama was very satisfied with Katoban's attitude. At the same time, he was a little curious why Katoban did not choose to learn other more powerful offensive techniques, but instead chose such a defensive technique. That's right, Lord Hokage also knows that when I perform the reincarnation technique, my soul will leave my body. In the absence of teammates, protecting my body will be a big problem. So, you chose this defensive technique? Yes, compared to other techniques, the stone rock technique can only be used for defense, and the side effects are great, but it is the most suitable for me. The side effects of the stone rock technique are indeed great. When performing this technique, the caster's entire body will be covered with a very hard rock and will be unable to move. In other words, using this technique means that you will become a living target. In addition, during the performance of this technique, the caster's thinking will gradually slow down, and eventually become a real piece of stone. This is why Katoban's technique is suitable for him. His soul has left his body, so he is naturally not affected by the side effects of slowing down his thinking, and a layer of rock cover in his body can also play a concealing effect. It can be said that it is a perfect match with his reincarnation technique. As long as he learns the stone rock technique, he can greatly enhance his own safety. From now on, Mom will no longer have to worry about him dying suddenly on the battlefield. After leaving Tobirama's office, Sarutobi Hiruzen quickly found little Jiraiya who was kicking a wooden stake in a training ground. Jiraiya, come here. Teacher, why are you here? Little Jiraiya was confused when he saw Sarutobi Hiruzen. At this time, shouldn't the teacher be on the way to the fire capital? Jiraiya, the teacher has neglected your teachings during this period of time because he has to protect the safety of the daimyo. You shouldn't blame the teacher, right? Little Jiraiya shook his head and replied with a silly smile. How could it be? Didn't the teacher entrust me and Orochimaru to the Hokage? The Hokage is quite responsible. As long as I have questions, I will go to the Hokage and he will answer my questions in detail. I hope you don't blame me. As compensation for my absence during this period, I decided to teach you a very powerful ninjutsu. Really? Little Jiraiya looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen with stars in his eyes and full of expectation. Of course, how could the teacher lie to you? After saying that, Sarutobi Hiruzen took out a small scroll for practicing the summoning technique and handed it to little Jiraiya, and said, "The ninjutsu I am going to teach you is the summoning technique." "Oh, so it's the summoning technique. As long as I learn this, I can summon the teacher's monkey demon." Sarutobi Hiruzen smiled awkwardly and said, "Don't even think about the monkey demon, you should go find other summoning beasts." "Oh, I see." Hearing that he could not summon a monkey demon, little Jiraiya looked very disappointed, but he soon cheered up. "Teacher, then you teach me quickly." "Okay, I'll show you now." The order of the hand seals for the summoning technique is Hizuushinwei. After showing the order of the hand seals to little Jiraiya, Sarutobi Hiruzen continued, "When you find a summoning beast that can be contracted, you can use the summoning technique. Before you contract a summoning beast, you must not." "Jiraiya, what the hell are you doing?" In fact, little Jiraiya didn't listen to what Sarutobi Hiruzen said. After seeing the order of the hand seals, he immediately began to mobilize chakra, and at the same time, he was also making the hand seal of the summoning technique. When little Jiraiya finished the hand seal, he imitated the way Hiruzen summoned the monkey demon that year, and slapped the ground hard. With a bang, little Jiraiya disappeared instantly under Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes. "Hiruzen, what's going on? What about my big disciple?" Chapter 93 has been reviewed. I'm really sick of it. Chapter 95 Myoboku Mountain. Sarutobi Hiruzen knew that his disciple was sometimes unreliable. But he didn't expect that Jiraiya was so unreliable. Before signing a contract with a summoned beast, there would be only two results if you rashly used the summoning technique. The first is that you would be torn into pieces by the turbulent flow of space. The second is that you would randomly reach any place in the ninja world, which could be a safe land or a dangerous ocean. If you were a little luckier, you might be able to reach a gathering place of summoned beasts directly. To put it bluntly, the summoning technique is a summoning technique that uses space. If you have your own summoned beast, the summoned beast can instantly reach the place where the caster is based on the user himself as a beacon. The reverse summoning technique is also based on this principle. Just now, Jiraiya used the summoning technique in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen without a contracted summoned beast, which was a very dangerous thing. However, things have already happened, and Sarutobi Hiruzen did not dwell on it too much. He could only pray that Jiraiya would have better luck and not die so easily. Speaking of which, could Jiraiya have become a contractor of Myoboku Mountain by accident? The more he thought about it, the more Sarutobi Hiruzen felt that this was possible. After standing there waiting for a long time, Hiruzen did not wait for little Jiraiya to come back, so he had to shake his head and start to go to the Hokage's office. What happened here must be told to Senju Tobirama. Little Jiraiya did come to Myoboku Mountain by accident just as Sarutobi Hiruzen thought. When he was randomly teleported here by the summoning technique, looking at the huge leaves beside him and the scenery that was completely different from the ninja world, little Jiraiya was not panicked at all, but was very excited. "Haha, I'm really lucky." How could little Jiraiya not know the disadvantages of the summoning technique? Recently, the pressure brought to him by little Tsunade and little Orochimaru has been increasing. If he doesn't fight hard, how can he have the nerve to call them the three ninjas when he grows up? The light screen said that he would be a contractor of Myoboku Mountain in the future, but he didn't even have any news about Myoboku Mountain at this time. How could he find it? It would be better to rely on the drawbacks of the summoning technique and take a good gamble. If it works, everyone will be happy. If it doesn't, it's nothing more than death. Now it seems that he should have succeeded. Is this a human? There hasn't been a human here for a long time. In the bushes not far from little Jiraiya, a huge toad first discovered him. Unlike the poisonous snakes of the Raichi cave that want to kill people, the toads of Myoboku Mountain have no ill will towards humans. After all, they don't eat people. The arrival of humans may be a good thing for them. At least, with the contractor, they can go to the outside world from time to time. Of course, all this depends on the person in front of him passing the test. Their consideration will not cost lives, but the difficulty is definitely not small. "Hey, human." Just as Toad Winter was about to ask little Jiraiya, two old toads named Fukasaku and Shima jumped to little Jiraiya. The kid's father, is he the one the great toad sage is looking for? He's the only one here, so he must be the one. "Hey human kid, come with us, the great toad sage wants to see you." Little Jiraiya pointed at himself and asked ignorantly, "Is it me?" Fukasaku and Shima nodded and replied, "Yes." "It's not easy for the old toad to wake up once, you'd better come with us quickly." "Oh, okay." Little Jiraiya, who had just come to Myoboru Mountain, didn't know anything and could only follow that two old toads. By the way, my name is Fukasaku, and she is my wife's name is Shima. Human kid, what's your name? On the way, the two toads introduced themselves to little Jiraiya. They knew that if nothing unexpected happened, the human kid in front of them should be the contractor of this Myoboru Mountain. My name is Jiraiya, and I'm 13 years old, so I'm not a kid anymore. We're both hundreds of years old, so it's okay to call you a kid, right? Hearing that the two toads were so old, what else could little Jiraiya say? He could only smile awkwardly and accept the title. By the way, why did the big toad sage you mentioned want to see me? How should I know? It's possible that he's old and confused. Wife, don't be rude to the big toad sage. That's right, he eats and sleeps every day, not to mention that he wakes up for a short time, and he often talks nonsense, isn't he confused? Fukasaku looked at Shima helplessly and said, just say it behind his back, don't say it to his face. I'm just complaining, I'm not a fool. Okay, my wife is the smartest. Hehe, you know what's good for you. Little Jiraiya. No, he had just eaten a mouthful of dog food from Tsunade and Kato-dan on the light curtain yesterday, and now he has to eat dog food from two toads in Myoboru Mountain. As for Kato-dan, he can also find Orochimaru to teach him a lesson. What should he do here? These two toads have lived for hundreds of years, and he will definitely not be able to win. Damn, singles have no human rights? Is there anyone to take care of it? Fortunately, this situation did not last long. Soon Fukasaku and Shima brought little Jiraiya to the big toad sage. The big toad sage was slumped on a huge seat. His whole body was orange, with yellow eyes. There was a string of Buddhist beads on his neck, with a lavender cat's eye stone in the middle, and the word oil was written on it. He wore a doctor's hat on his head and looked very old. The big toad sage was still awake at this time. When he saw his two guards coming with a human child, he asked, "Who is coming?" Under the seat, Fukasaku first complained in a low voice. "You always play the same trick, is it fun?" Then he replied, "Big Toad Immortal, didn't you predict 100 years ago that a human child would come to Myoboru Mountain? Today, Shima and I brought this child here." "Really? Why don't I remember it?" Upon hearing this, Fukasaku and Shima's faces were immediately filled with black lines. The two toads looked at each other, conveying information with their eyes. "Shima, I said that this old toad is confused, you still don't believe it." "Fukasaku, what's the use of me believing it? Even if he is confused, he is still the biggest in Myoboru Mountain." "Oh, ho, just a joke, Fukasaku, Shima, you have no sense of humor." After saying this with a smile, the great toad sage ignored the two toads who looked unhappy, looked at Jiraiya and asked, "It seems that you came a little earlier than I predicted, but it doesn't matter, as long as you are here." "This, great toad sage, what can I do?" "Sign this spiritual contract, and from now on you'll be the contractor of Myoboru Mountain." After saying this, the great toad sage opened his mouth and placed the contract scroll tied with his tongue in front of Jiraiya. Jiraiya was also very excited. Isn't this the purpose of his coming here? Without disdaining the saliva on it, he directly opened the scroll, took the brush from Fukasaku's hand, and wrote his name at the end of the scroll. "Here, I've written it." After writing his name, Jiraiya closed the scroll and put it back on the tongue of the great toad sage. "Okay, you guys go down first, I'm going to sleep." "Yes, Big Toad Immortal." Big Toad Immortal. ZZZZZZ. Chapter 96. Obito, guess what I saw in Konoha? Okay, I got it. In the Hokage's office, Sarutobi Hiruzen had already told Senju Tobirama what had just happened. Tobirama's attitude was very calm, he just nodded slightly, indicating that he knew. "If you're okay, let's go to the Fire City." "Okay, teacher, I'll leave right away." Not long after Sarutobi Hiruzen left, Senju Tobirama finished reviewing the documents, left the office, and started to go to the laboratory. The experiments on cloning various animals have been almost completed, and it is time to conduct experiments on cloning humans. He also has a candidate for the first clone, that is Nohara Rin. As a ninja, Nohara Rin's strength is not strong. But she is the best choice for the first clone. Anyway, we have to pay attention to gradual progress. Only after successfully cloning this unfeatured ninja, Tobirama will try to clone his elder brother. After all, the problem of Hashirama cells is a bit difficult to deal with, and he needs to accumulate more experience in cloning humans. Black Zetsu, who has been lurking in Konoha for a long time, perceives that there is no one in the Hokage's office. It knew without thinking that Tobirama must have entered the building at the foot of the mountain. As far as it knew, that building was where Tobirama Senju conducted experiments. It wanted to go in and investigate, but unfortunately, the building was covered by the four purple flame formation 24 hours a day, and it had no chance to go in. As for Tobirama, Flying Thunder God went in with a whoosh, without having to go through the four purple flame formation. In addition to this laboratory, it also wanted to sneak into the Hokage's office. But every time it had this idea, it always felt an inexplicable danger. It was as if it would die as soon as it entered. Before finding out where the danger came from, it would never enter the Hokage's office. At most, it would just lurk outside the door and sense the situation inside. But this perception is not omnipotent. At least, he didn't know what happened inside at 8 o'clock last night. It just saw many people entering the Hokage's office and sensed the emotions of some people inside, but it didn't know what happened inside. It's been almost a month since I came to Konoha. It's time to go back and report to Madara. After all, I'm just his will. I have to follow his orders. Mountain Ranch. Uchiha Madara was still the same, sitting quietly in his seat. The tube behind him would wriggle from time to time, sending him some life-sustaining substances. Did you find out any news? Madara knew the moment Black Zetsu came back. Of course, this was intentional by Black Zetsu, otherwise even Ben with the Rinnegan would not be able to find him easily. I found some strange places. Oh? Tell me about it. Black Zetsu came to Madara's side and whispered, I found that Senju Tobirama would gather some people to his office at 8 o'clock in the evening every half a month. I don't know what they do in there. Even you don't know. Uchiha Madara knew about Black Zetsu's lurking ability. He was very curious that even he didn't know what Tobirama and his people were doing in the office. Yeah, I have a feeling that if I enter that office, I might die. Is that so? Yes. Although he was curious, Madara didn't want such a capable assistant to die so early. Besides this, have you found anything else? There is a laboratory in Tobirama Senju. This laboratory is shrouded in the four purple flame formation 24 hours a day. I think sneaking in will definitely be discovered. So you didn't go in? Yes. Well, you're right. At this stage, we should still focus on lurking. Everything will have to wait until I find my successor. Thinking of the successor, Uchiha Madara asked again. Have you found a suitable candidate in Uchiha Madara? You know, as you said, you must have a kind character, love life, and preferably like to help others. Is there really such an Uchiha? Uchiha Madara also knew that the conditions he gave were very harsh. It's just that if he didn't do this, it would be difficult to stimulate the other party to open the main scheme. As his successor, is it reasonable not to have a pair of main scheme Sharingan? Take your time to look for it. I won't die so early. By the way, Lord Madara, when I was in Konoha, I also found that the Uchiha side seemed to have suffered a wave of purges, and many people died. Purge? Most likely it was done by the evil guy Tobirama. He has always disliked the Uchiha. If it weren't for Hashirama protecting him, I would have killed him to avenge my brother Ajuna. Humph, the second Hokage. Bah. Does Lord Madara think it was Tobirama Senju? But why did I find that it was Uchiha Kagama who did it? Uchiha Madara. Zetsu, what's the matter, Lord Madara? If you have anything to say in the future, just say it directly, don't leave me half-hearted. Okay, Lord Madara. Black Zetsu on Tobirama's side was reporting to Madara. Black Zetsu on the Third Hokage's side was also reporting. It's just that the person Black Zetsu was reporting to was the masked man Obito. Madara, the white Zetsu I sent to Konoha are missing. They haven't contacted me for a month. Have you found out the reason? No. Hearing Black Zetsu's answer, Obito couldn't help but fall into deep thought. Obito knew that Pain asked Black Zetsu to go to Konoha to investigate Danzo last month. In his opinion, with White Zetsu, it shouldn't take long to figure things out. Is there anyone in Konoha who can see through the sport jutsu? It's impossible. But now it seems that his cognition was a bit hasty. It can only be said that Konoha is worthy at being the ninja village where he was born, and there are still some talents in it. Zetsu, you should go to Konoha in person. Madara, there's no need for me to go. I can just find some information to fool Pain, right? Obito shook his head and said, Pain is just a side job. Your main task is to investigate the matter of White Zetsu and see if he was killed by Konoha's people or captured. If he was killed, it doesn't matter. If he was captured, then you should either find a way to save them or kill them to silence them. I don't want Konoha's people to know our plan, even if it's just part of it. Okay, I got it. After saying that, Black Zetsu dived directly into the ground and disappeared. Rin, wait for me. Soon I will be able to create a world with you. Looking at the sunset in the sky, Obito recalled the bits and pieces of his time with Rin. As for the white-haired masked man, he simply ignored him. Black Zetsu was very efficient. It only took 5 days for it to return to the base and find Obito. Obito, you don't know what I saw in Konoha. Normally, Black Zetsu would not call Obito by his real name, but Madara. Now that it calls Obito by his real name, it is conceivable that it must have seen something extraordinary in Konoha. Call me Madara, and what did you see that surprised you so much? I saw the second Hokage, Senju Tobirama. Obito. Chapter 97 Obito. Zetsu, are you kidding me? Do you want to hear what you were talking about? The second Hokage, Senju Tobirama? I don't know how many years he has been dead. Now you tell me that you saw him in Konoha, do you think I will believe it? Hearing the news about Black Zetsu, Obito was a little excited. He knew that there were some forbidden techniques in the ninja world that could revive people. Apart from other things, the Samsara Eyes Samsara reincarnation technique is a technique that can perfectly revive the dead. Madara's original plan was to use the Samsara Eyes host to revive him with the Samsara reincarnation technique. But Obito had other ideas. He didn't want to revive Madara just like that. In addition to the Samsara reincarnation technique, the impure world reincarnation can also revive the dead. But this kind of resurrection is not a real resurrection. There is no sense of smell, no sense of taste, and even the sense of touch is very rare, and the impure world reincarnation person will also be controlled by the caster. So, rather than a resurrection technique, it is better to say that it is a summoning technique to summon the dead. These two are the techniques that Obito knows that can revive the dead. Black Zetsu said that it had seen Tobirama Senju in Konoha, so does that mean that Konoha already has a real resurrection technique? Not something like impure world reincarnation. If it is really as Obito thought, then his subsequent plans will definitely be disturbed by Konoha. Tobirama Senju was resurrected this time, so will Hashirama Senju be resurrected next time? Without Uchiha Madara, who else in the ninja world can resist Hashirama Senju? Relying on Nagato, who has a pair of Madara's Samsara eyes? Shaking his head. Obito doesn't think that Nagato, who can't even fully exert the power of the Samsara eyes, can compete with this ninja god. Zetsu, come with me to Konoha, I want to see what the hell they are doing. Obito will never allow anyone to mess up, even if this is Konoha where he was born and raised. For his own purpose, didn't he kill his teacher, his mistress, and his family back then? So what does it matter if he starts a riot in Konoha again? As long as Black Zetsu's situation is true, he doesn't mind assassinating Uzumaki Naruto and starting another Nine Tails rebellion. On the road to Konoha, Obito couldn't help but mutter to himself, "Don't worry, your sacrifice will not be in vain. As long as my plan succeeds, everyone can have a bright future." Obito and Black Zetsu were moving at full speed, and their speed was very fast. It only took 1 day and 1 night to get from the Hidden Rain village to the Konoha village. With such a fast speed, even Obito, who was implanted with Hashirama cells, needed to slow down. "Take me to the place where you saw Senju Tobirama." After a long while, as soon as Obito recovered, he couldn't wait to see the second Hokage. "Okay, follow me." The place where Black Zetsu saw the second Hokage was actually downstairs in the Hokage building. Black Zetsu didn't dare to go into the Hokage's office, so he could only wander around the Hokage building. He happened to see Senju Tobirama walking towards the Hokage building while talking to the 5th generation Jiraiya. When he saw Senju Tobirama, Black Zetsu had a face full of question marks. He knew clearly that the second Hokage of Konoha was dead, wasn't he? Why would he still appear in Konoha? Looking at his face, he didn't look like he was resurrected through the impure world reincarnation. This puzzled Black Zetsu. He really wanted to know if there was any secret in it. However, he couldn't enter the Hokage's office, so he had to quickly return to the Hidden Rain village and let Obito try. "Did you see the second Hokage in the Hokage building?" "Yes, he entered the Hokage's office. In order not to be discovered by them, I came to inform you immediately. With your ability, even if you lurked in the office, they shouldn't be able to find you, right?" Obito knew Black Zetsu's ability, so he was a little surprised why Black Zetsu didn't lurk in the office to see what these people were doing. What can Black Zetsu do? It was also desperate. As long as it had the idea of entering the Hokage's office, it would have a strong sense of crisis that a disaster was about to happen and it would be killed as soon as it entered. Before rescuing its mother, it would not gamble with its own life. After all, the other party is the second Hokage. If he has the ability to sense me, wouldn't I be exposed? Black Zetsu didn't want Obito to know that he was afraid of this office. He could only bring up the second Hokage. Fortunately, Obito didn't know the detailed ability of the second Hokage, and he had nothing to refute Black Zetsu's words. You're right. After all, the other party is the second Hokage. It won't be good for us if you're exposed. Obito thought for a while and continued, how about this, I will wait here, you go somewhere else, and notify me if there is any news. Hearing that he didn't need to go to the Hokage's office, Black Zetsu secretly breathed a sigh of relief and immediately agreed to Obito's arrangement. Time passed slowly. After 3 days, Obito was very impatient. He and Black Zetsu almost turned Konoha upside down, but they didn't find the second Hokage Senju Tobirama. Do you have any opinions about me? In a remote grove at Konoha, Obito looked at Black Zetsu with great dissatisfaction. No, I've always been very satisfied with you. If that's the case, then why did you play tricks on me? What do you mean by playing tricks on you? Explain yourself. Obito took a deep breath, pointed to the outside of the woods and said, you said that the second Hokage Senju Tobirama appeared in Konoha, so I rushed here with you to investigate. Do you admit this? I admit it. Well, after 3 days of investigation, can you tell me where Senju Tobirama is? This. Black Zetsu was also confused at this time. It clearly saw with its own eyes that Senju Tobirama was chatting and laughing with Jiraiya. How could he disappear in the blink of an eye? Could it be that everything it saw at the time was an illusion? Well, illusions are impossible. As the product of Kagya Otsutsu's yin-yang escape, Black Zetsu was naturally immune to all ninjutsu and illusions. Even Madara's Samsara eye can't make it fall into an illusion, let alone Konoha today. Since it's not an illusion, where did Senju Tobirama go? Seeing that Black Zetsu remained silent, Obito didn't want to make things awkward. In his plan, Black Zetsu is a very useful tool. If the relationship between the two became awkward, it would be detrimental to his future plans. Our time is very valuable. 3 days, we will continue to investigate for another 3 days. If we still don't find anything, we will return to the Hidden Rain village. Obito gave Black Zetsu a way out, and Black Zetsu backed off. Are we just going to ignore Konoha? Just continue to send some white Zetsu to keep an eye on it. We have already lost 2 white Zetsu in Konoha. Don't worry. Obito waved his hand indifferently and said, the last 2 white Zetsu possessed the 5th Hokage and Orochimaru. This time, let's find some Jonin to possess them. I don't believe that Konoha really has the technology to detect white Zetsu. The 5th Hokage Jiraiya is also the Hokage, and his identity is destined to have the highest security level. As a ninja who returned as a rebel ninja, Orochimaru's security level must not be too low. Even if Konoha really has the technology to detect white Zetsu, the first ones to be taken care of must be the village's high-ranking officials and people like Orochimaru. As for the Jonin, because there are so many people, most of them cannot be taken care of. In addition, the Jonin are eligible to attend the Konoha meeting, so choosing a Jonin to possess is a very good choice. 3 days later, Obito and Black Zetsu left Konoha and returned to the Hidden Cloud village. Then they sent 3 white Zetsu to possess the Jonin of Konoha. They are Hatake Kakashi, Sarutobi Ashuma and Yuzukyo. Chapter 98. Is there something wrong with Obito? After finishing a day's mission, Hatake Kakashi returned home slightly exhausted. It was not because the mission was too difficult, but because the mission was too simple. It was so simple that he did not need to guide the 3 little ones in Team 7. He only needed to read quietly. I have to say that Jiraiya's writing is getting better and better. The characters are full, the plot is fascinating, and the sense of substitution is really strong. After lying on the bed with his eyes closed for a while, he got up, stretched his body, and prepared to cook after slightly eliminating some of the fatigue brought by reading. At this time, he saw a talisman called the White Zetsu Detection Talisman placed in the corner of the desk. He still remembered that a few days ago, the 5th Hokage, in front of many senior ninjas in Konoha, asked them to use one on themselves every day with a serious expression. The purpose is to avoid a creature called White Zetsu from possessing them. Seeing that the Hokage was so serious, the senior ninjas naturally did not dare to be vague and used a talisman on themselves every day. A few days have passed, and no so-called White Zetsu possession has been found among these senior ninjas. Well, I don't think I've used it today. Muttering to himself, Kakashi skillfully pasted the talisman on his body and prepared to cook as usual. But when he was about to go to the kitchen, a white substance gradually began to emerge on the surface of his body. Is this the white Zetsu? Kakashi did not panic. He just stood there with a serious expression, quietly waiting for the white Zetsu to come out of his body. Not long after, when the entire white Zetsu came out of his body, Kakashi punched and kicked the white Zetsu to the ground without saying a word, and then took out a bundle of ropes from the cabinet and tied up the white Zetsu in front of him. I didn't expect that the famous Kakashi likes to play this kind of tune. You're really bad, but I like it too. Kakashi. Is there something wrong with this white Zetsu? What's wrong, Kakashi-san? Are you afraid of hurting me? Don't be afraid. The rougher you are, the more I like it. Come on, ravage me. Don't pity me just because I'm a delicate flower. Come on. Looking at the white Zetsu lying on the ground and posing, Kakashi helplessly supported his forehead. He remembered that when the fifth Hokage was instructing them, he also said that the personalities of these white Zetsu are very strange, and they didn't need to make a fuss when they saw them. Kakashi admitted that the personality of this white Zetsu was indeed strange, so strange that even he couldn't bear it. It's really a sin. As the fifth Hokage of Konoha village, Jiraiya's residence was not very large, and the decoration was not very luxurious. It was similar to the house where the fourth Hokage Minato named Hokage lived back then, just an ordinary two-bedroom apartment. Taking advantage of the night, the fifth Jiraiya was preparing to go to the hot spring hotel that was open 24 hours a day to collect materials. Even though he had become the Hokage of Konoha, it couldn't stop his determination to become a great writer. It's just that it's not a coincidence today. The third Hokage brought Sarutobi Ashima and Yuzukyo to his residence. By the way, they were holding two white Zetsu in their hands. Orochimaru will probably be very happy, as the materials for the experiment have increased. Back home, the fifth Hokage Jiraiya asked the three to sit down. It can be seen that he was not in a very good mood. At this time, he just wanted to throw the two white Zetsu to Orochimaru so that he could go out to collect materials. Old man, did you find out anything? The third Hokage nodded and replied, they said they were ordered to come to Konoha for surveillance and were going to investigate whether there were any suspicious people here. Suspicious people? Yes. That's a bit strange. Not only the fifth Hokage found it strange, but even the third Hokage found it strange. What suspicious people are there in Konoha, and what does it have to do with Uchiha Obito? At the same time, they both felt that Uchiha Obito was seriously ill. You are the successor of Uchiha Madara, the mastermind behind the Nine Tails Rebellion. Why do you care so much about Konoha village? You should also take care of the other four major ninja villages. What does it mean to treat everyone equally? Do you understand? Kirigaku. Forget it, our place is almost ruined by this bastard, please don't come. Old man, do you think there is a possibility that the person they are looking for is the second generation? Don't say it, there is such a possibility, and it is not small. After reading the inventory of characters on the light screen and knowing some things, the 5th generation Jiraiya and the 3rd generation Hokage decided to keep a low profile as much as possible while maintaining the status quo. The Battle of Ninjas is an intelligence war. As long as they know the intelligence of the village's future enemies, they can have a greater advantage in the battle. Now, they only know about Obito's Mangekyou Sharingan, Kamyoi's weaknesses, and the weaknesses of those people in the Akatsuki organization, but they don't know them yet. Therefore, the longer the time drags on and the more videos on the light screen are watched, the higher their chances of winning will be. Wait, you two Hokages, what are you talking about? What about Nadami-sama? Why don't I understand? The words of the 5th Hokage Jiraiya and the 3rd Hokage made Sarutobi Ashima and Yuzukyo very concerned. After all, that was the village's 2nd Hokage, Senju Tobirama. As long as they were from Konoha, there would be no one who didn't care. Old man, what do you think? Do you want to tell them? The 3rd Hokage was speechless. If Jiraiya really didn't want Ashima and Kurone to know about the 2nd Hokage, he shouldn't have said that in front of the two. As a result, as soon as he finished speaking, facing the inquiries of the two, he kicked the ball to himself. If something happens in the future, will I be responsible for it, and it has nothing to do with him. I have retired, and this guy still blames me. It's really not a human being. At this moment, the 3rd Hokage inexplicably missed Danzo. They will know sooner or later, so why not take this opportunity to tell them? Okay, then old man, you take them back and talk to them. I will send these two white Zetsu to war Orochimaru. Okay. Sarutobi Ashima is the son of the 3rd Hokage, and Yuzukyo is his future daughter-in-law. Neither of them is an outsider. Telling them in advance can also increase their vigilance. Kakashi, you are also possessed by the White Zetsu. The 5th generation Jiraiya carried 2 White Zetsu and went out with the 3rd generation Hokage and others. He happened to see Kakashi and the White Zetsu tied up like a dumpling in his hand. 3rd generation, 5th generation Hokage, what are you doing? The 5th generation Jiraiya and the 3rd generation Hokage looked at each other tacitly, and after a while of winking, they had the following communication. Jiraiya. White Zetsu has already set his sights on Kakashi, why don't you tell him about Obito? 3rd generation Hokage. Okay, I have no objection. Jiraiya. Then I'll leave it to you. I'll go and send the White Zetsu to war Okimura. 3rd Hokage. You just want to be lazy. Jiraiya. Oh wow, you figured it out. 3rd Hokage. Get out of here. Jiraiya. Okay. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 99. The 3rd Hokage. The murderer is Uchiha Obito. Kakashi, Ashuma, home, follow me. Through eye contact, the 5th Hokage Jiraiya was responsible for delivering the experimental materials to Okimura, and the 3rd Hokage was responsible for explaining the light curtain to the 3. The 4 of them came to the Hokage's office without saying a word. The 3rd Hokage pointed to the chair in the corner and said, pull out a chair and sit down to talk. The 3 of them followed suit and randomly chose a chair and moved it to the desk, looking at the 3rd Hokage with a sharp look in their eyes. How should I put it? The 3rd Hokage took a puff of his pipe, pondered for a moment, and then said, do you know that since the tuning exam, Jiraiya, Okimura and I have to gather in the office at 8 o'clock every half-month in the evening? I have heard something from Naruto. Kakashi nodded and took over the conversation. It is said that some magical light curtain will appear in the Hokage's office, and the people in the light curtain speak humorously and nicely. Naruto said that he likes to look at the light curtain very much. Sound me some up, is this the light curtain you want to tell us about? Yes, this light curtain appears once every half a month, and each time it appears at 8 o'clock in the evening. The content in the light curtain is mainly divided into an inventory of the characters in our ninja world and the daily life of the commentator, which are played in turn for a period of half a month. The 3rd Hokage did not know what video up was. According to his understanding, there seemed to be nothing wrong with treating Lin Tian as a video commentator. Inventory of the people in the ninja world. What does that mean? Looking at Ashuma, who was impatient, the 3rd Hokage couldn't help but sigh in his heart. He spent a lot of effort on this son. In his early years, Ashuma was very rebellious. He would do the opposite of what the 3rd Hokage did. He even went to the capital of the Land of Fire and became a bodyguard for the daimyo, earning the title of the Guardian of the 12 Ninjas. Although the 3rd Hokage was very disdainful of this title, fortunately, as he grew older, Ashuma became less rebellious. At this time, the 3rd Hokage wanted to pave the way for Ashuma. In order to strengthen his network of people, the 3rd Hokage asked him to be a teacher for the new generation of Inoshikacho. Even so, he was still worried that the help of the 3 tribes of Inoshikacho alone was not enough, and he also arranged for Uchiha, who had just become a Jonin, to become the teacher of the heirs of the 3 tribes of Yaga, Aburame, and Inuzuka. Logically speaking, with Uchiha's qualifications, it is impossible for her to become the teacher of Hinata, Shino, and Kiba. But who told her boyfriend to be Ashuma Sarutobi? Sarutobi Hiruzen had a good idea. In a few years, when these 6 students grew up, Ashuma's strength would be strengthened, more tasks would be completed, and his qualifications would be stronger. He would be able to smoothly pass the position of Hokage to him. With him, the longest-serving Hokage, and the support of the 6 major ninja clans behind him, he didn't believe that anyone would dare to oppose it. But things didn't go as planned. According to normal development, he died in the hands of Okimura. Even if the light curtain intervened now and he was saved by the second Hokage Senju Tobirama, Ashuma's chance of becoming Hokage was not great. With the existence of Tobirama and the light curtain, if you want to become Hokage, your identity and background are actually not important. What is important is the quality and talent of the candidate for Hokage. The 3rd Hokage knew very well that Ashuma's strength, vision and other qualities were not the best in their generation. At the very least, he was not as patient as Kurone and Kakashi. Just this alone, he couldn't pass the test of Mr. Tobirama. Not to mention that the light curtain will sooner or later count the generations of Hokage in Konoha. If Ashuma could become Hokage in the original history, maybe he still has a chance now. If not, then he really has no chance at all. Sighing secretly, the third Hokage looked at Ashuma with a slightly complicated look and said, "To put it simply, it is to play a person's life roughly, and add a commentator named Tian to explain it on the side, so that we viewers can more intuitively know and understand the person being counted." After saying this, the third Hokage paused for a while, giving the three people some time to digest. After a while, Kakashi, who had completely understood what the third Hokage said, asked solemnly, "Sir, is it possible for everyone in the ninja world to be counted?" "I don't know either." The third Hokage shook his head. He really didn't know if everyone could be counted. But he knew clearly that these inventory videos were selected by the commentator named Tian. As for the criteria for selecting the people to be counted, the third Hokage was not clear. "Then can you tell us, Sammi-sama, how many people has the light curtain counted so far? Who are these people?" "Of course I can tell you that the light curtain has counted 6 people so far. They are the first Hokage, the second Hokage, the third Hokage, the fourth Hokage, Shimura Danzo, and Kato Dan. They are all from our village." "Yes. Not to mention the 4 Hokage, Shimura Danzo was also a high-ranking official in Konoha before he defected." Kakashi didn't know much about Kato Dan, but he also knew that he was the lover of Tsunade, one of the 3 ninjas. 6 rounds of character counts, all of them are from Konoha. Is this a coincidence? Or does the light curtain only count people from Konoha? Kakashi asked the question he had in mind, and as expected, he heard the 3 words "I don't know." "By the way, did Danzo defect because the light curtain found him and exposed all the evil things he did?" The third Hokage looked at him with approval and blushed, thinking to himself, "She is worthy at being our daughter-in-law, her mind is so quick." Yes, the light curtain not only exposed what Danzo did in the past, but also what he will do in the future. After? Yes, after. Can the light curtain predict the future? You can also understand it this way, but this future is the future that develops according to normal circumstances without the light curtain. After hearing what the third Hokage said, the 3 of them also understood. Because of the appearance of the light curtain, the established future has been changed, so the future shown on the light curtain can only be used as a reference, and this kind of future cannot be superstitious. Okay, you know about the light curtain. In a few days, there will be an extra video in A.T.N. You can come and watch it together. Yes, Sammi-sama. Kakashi and the other 2 agreed. Seeing that the matter had been discussed, the 3 wanted to leave. However, the third Hokage did not let them go, but continued. "Then I will tell you some things I learned through the light curtain." Ashuma added. For example, I already know who the murderer who started the Nine-Tails Rebellion and killed the 4th Hokage and his wife is. Please tell me, Sammi-sama." Kakashi clenched his fists and looked very excited. It is not difficult to see that he wanted to avenge Minato and his wife very much. The third Hokage stared into Kakashi's eyes and uttered a name with an indifferent expression. "Uchiha Obito." "What?" Hearing the name, Kakashi and the other 2 were shocked. Especially Kakashi, he never thought that the murderer who did these things was actually Obito. Chapter 100. What does Kakashi really look like? Ashuma Sarutobi glanced at Kakashi, who was so surprised that he couldn't speak. He knew about the relationship between Kakashi and Obito. He also knew how confused and helpless Kakashi was now. His best friend started the Nine-Tails Rebellion and killed his teacher and his wife. Is this something a normal person can do? It was because Kakashi had experienced a lot and been hit many times that he had developed resistance. If it were an ordinary person, he would have fainted. Seeing that Kakashi was trembling all over and couldn't speak, Ashuma sighed and asked for him. "Old man, are you getting senile? Didn't Uchiha Obito die a long time ago? How could he be the mastermind behind the Nine-Tails Rebellion?" "Uchiha Obito is not dead." The third Hokage pressed his hands down and motioned for the 3 to sit down and talk. When the 3 of them sat down again, he continued, "When Obito was buried in the rocks, you thought he was dead, but it turned out that he was saved by Uchiha Madara." "Uchiha Madara?" Now it was Ashuma and Yuzukyone's turn to be surprised. "Are you sure you are not senile? What does this have to do with Uchiha Madara? Don't tell me that Uchiha Madara, who fought with the first Hokage, did not die." "Ashuma, you bastard, show some respect." The third Hokage patted Ashuma's head with a little dissatisfaction. At home, he can call himself whatever he wants, but outside, in front of Kakashi, an outsider, can't he give himself some face? The truth is just as you said, Uchiha Madara is not dead either. He used the Uchiha family's ultimate eye technique. Izanagi deceived the first Hokage and has been staying somewhere in the ninja world to survive. What about now? Is Uchiha Madara still alive? He should be dead now. Dead. Fortunately, I don't want to face such a terrifying enemy in the future. Ashuma patted his chest with lingering fear to calm down. Turning around, he saw that Home also had a terrified expression, and immediately wanted to help her calm down. Forget it, it's not convenient with outsiders present. Let's continue with our previous topic. After Obito was rescued by Madara, he became Madara's spokesperson. According to Zetsu, there is a dark-skinned black Zetsu who claims to be Uchiha Madara's will to help Obito. At the same time, they are secretly carrying out some plan. After taking a puff of cigarette, the third Hokage continued. We don't know what their plan is. It can't be for the peace of the ninja world, right? Anyway, I'm here to remind you that if you see a person wearing a black robe with red clouds and an orange vortex mask on his face, he is Uchiha Obito. So, do we need to arrest Uchiha Obito? The third Hokage's words were incredible, but Kakashi did not question it. Because he knew that the third Hokage would never lie about such things. He could only accept this reality painfully. No need. With your strength, even if you really meet him, you probably won't be able to beat him. Old man, that's not possible. Is Obito so strong now? The third Hokage glanced at Ashuma and said, don't forget how Obito started the Nine-Tails Rebellion. Hearing this, the three of them said in unison, Mangekyo Sharingan. Yes, Obito is awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan, and his Mangekyo ability is very tricky. Having said that, the third Hokage looked at Kakashi again and said, your Sharingan was given to you by Obito. Logically, he should have awakened the Mangekyo. It doesn't make sense that you only have 3 Magatama. Actually, I've also noticed something about the awakening of the Mangekyo, but I don't know how to open it yet. Then work hard. If there's a chance, I'll introduce Kagami to you. Maybe he can help you officially open the Mangekyo Sharingan. Kagami. Uchiha Kagami. You are getting more and more outrageous, old man. I saw Kagami Sr. buried with my own eyes. Don't tell me he is not dead. The Kagami in our world is dead, there is no doubt about that. The Kagami I am talking about is the Kagami from 40 years ago. 40 years ago? Yes. Could it be that the light curtain can travel through time and invite people from 40 years ago to come? You're right. As he said that, the third Hokage told them that the light curtain connected to the ninja world 40 years ago. When Ashuma knew that the second Hokage Senju Tobirama and his disciples would come every month, he was excited again. Does this mean that I can see the old man from 40 years ago? Ashuma, what do you want to do? No one knows his son better than his father. When the third Hokage heard Ashuma say this, he knew that he must have been holding back. Hey, you should be younger than me 40 years ago, right? The third Hokage narrowed his eyes and asked sinisterly, So? We will talk about our own things from now on. I will call you dad and he will call me brother. Hearing this, Kakashi no longer cared about the sadness and pain. Turning his head, he looked at Ashuma in shock. If his emotions were not a little wrong, he really wanted to give Ashuma a thumbs up. You're really a tiger. Even if you have this idea, don't say it in front of the third Hokage. Do you really think that the third Hokage is old and can't fight anymore? Thinking of this, Kakashi and Tsunade stood up silently and stepped back a little to avoid being splashed with blood. Ha ha ha, the third Hokage laughed in anger, pointed at Ashuma and said, Today I will make you understand that your father is always your father. After that, the third Hokage ignored Kakashi and Tsunade and gave him a love education on the spot. Don't, old man. I was wrong, don't hit my face. Don't hit my kidneys either, if they are broken, won't Tsunade be a widow? Tsunade heard this and wanted to join in. What do you mean she will be a widow? She hasn't married Ashuma yet. If she is really broken, she can just find another one. It's hard to find a 3-legged toad, but there are many 2-legged men. Tsunade walked to Kakashi and whispered, Kakashi, how about we? Asuma, who was frantically avoiding the third Hokage's love education, happened to hear this. Thinking of what he had just said about being a widow, Ashuma immediately became anxious. Oh, you can't leave me. Oh, I can't live without you. Oh, how can I live without you? After wailing at home for a few times, Ashuma directed the conflict to Kakashi again. Good Kakashi, haven't you heard that a friend's wife should not be bullied? You are so good, you are not polite to your friend's wife, right? Just wait for me, wait until I deal with the old man, and then I will see how I deal with you. Hearing this, Kakashi didn't say anything, but felt that he had suffered an unprovoked disaster. The third Hokage was even more angry. Ha ha ha, good boy, you want to deal with me, right? I'll let you deal with it. Look at this move of mine, 2 dragons out of the sea, the whip of love. The third Hokage flew at both hands, condensed chakra and slapped Ashuma's buttocks hard, hitting Ashuma from running away with his head in his hands to lying on the ground holding his buttocks, twisting like a maggot. That scene was quite eye-catching. Yui Kurone sighed helplessly and said to Ashuma on the ground, "You really think too much. I just asked Kaka if he wanted to leave here together. It's not as exaggerated as you said. I don't believe it. Kakashi is so handsome. What if you were seduced by him? You know that when I knew Kakashi, he always wore a mask. Who knows if he has buck teeth or not? Kakashi." "Yes, I don't think I have seen Kakashi's true appearance. He may also have pockmarks on his face. Yes, what if he has a sausage mouth? I think it may be. Kakashi. That's enough. The 100 chapters sprinkle flowers." End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.